Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and welcome to episode 184 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. As always, I am joined by the man who would never bump up the price of Cog Pass, Lord Cognito. How are you today, good sir?
What you accusing me of? I would never raise anything on you.
The growth phase continues on for Cog Pass.
But never do anything without your knowledge. That was good on, man. Chilling. Just been busy. I've been with Mama Cog a lot. So
Nice.
it's kind of funny, getting to go back to the BX a little bit more. And then you just see how much things change where you, like your area, where you grew up. And then just with her, it's like, when you get older, when your parents get older, the things that used to annoy you, drive you crazy, now for me make me laugh because I appreciate the time spending. Yeah. So yeah, she's got like a whole new, I had to get her, this woman, a whole new Android phone. She out here running around with like 2 gigs of storage, wondering why she can't download videos. And she, I'm like, it was an adventure.
You got an upgrader. Yeah.
Oh, so then she's the type that she has a lot of technical fear. So her thing is, I can set her instructions. She will not do it unless I am present. And then it's confirmed working.
That's my Mimi. That was my Mimi. She was the same exact way.
My God.
I remember it was actually, it's fucked up now to, I guess, laugh about it, but she got I think a laptop for Christmas one year. And my mom, I think from my uncle, my mom was like, well, why would you get Mimi a laptop? Like, she's just not technologically literate. And so it was like a joint effort of my uncle and my dad trying to help her, and she like broke down in tears because she just couldn't understand it. Like, it just didn't make sense to her. Like, some people just aren't like that from that generation.
Yeah, because
it's so fascinating.
Baby boomers and above, like it's a struggle for them. And I remember during the time I was like, we got to get you a computer. Like, no, I'm gonna get me a word processor. I'm like, no, we're getting you a computer. And she's like old school typewriter from that era. So that era, they struggle with the technology thing, but she's getting better though. Like, call her Ubers now. She do her thing. I remember when I put her on the Uber. Life, she was about technology then.
Yeah. My mom was more about it when I told her about Instacart and DoorDash. She's like, you mean I can grocery shop from this here? I'm like, yeah.
Same thing. Yep. Amazon.
There's been a level of technological independence. I used to be helping her with everything, but since I moved out, she'll update me. She'll be like, you'll be proud. I figured out how to do X, Y, and Z all on my own. I'm like, yeah, there we go. So I hear you on that.
You get the proud thing, like, I didn't even have to bother you. I figured this part out, this, that. So they get super proud of little things. But it was good to kind of be there, being, my old place where, where the homies and everybody used to come through and stuff. And then obviously when you're there, you got to get treated to that, Mama Cog meal and, stay love, just, it was cool. So I pretty much spent like the last day and a half. I still got to go back one more thing because some other stuff she ordered that she needs help with. But other than that.
You ever get sad when you go home? Like when you go back to the Bronx, do you ever get sad? Like I was just there today for moving my brother out of his apartment. And there's some days I get a little sad when I'm back in my hometown. I'm like, I love where I'm at now. I'm like the happiest I've been with my life in a while, but I'm like, there's like always that sense of just like strong memories in like every pocket of this town. I'm like,
because it's like, I did this here, I did that there. Where it really hit me, we were driving around to pick up something and, I'm Cog chauffeur, I'm around. And we just happened to be in the area where my old public school used to be. It's torn down. It's like, so I'm like, wait a minute, it's gone.
An educational establishment.
Yeah, like this is where all my friends, and shout out to Sov. Like me and Sov went to school here. Like I met Sov at PS31 and I'm like, yo, it's gone. And what was dope about my elementary, it used to look like a physical castle. The architecture of the building there's only like 2 buildings in the Bronx that looks like this, that were designed like that. So going by there, I still saw the playground attached to it. We used to go play kickball, all that stuff. Sure. But the school is like like a mall, but it's like residential. And I'm like, Damn.
Yeah.
So it goes to show you how, things change and stuff like that. But yeah, I do get it sometimes with specific blocks, specific areas, and you're like, man, things have changed, or you just miss being around that time. You remember how much fun you had during different little areas and stuff. So yeah, it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like for me, it's like sounds, especially like there's certain things you hear that are just different in those areas that compared to where I live now. I don't know. It's just interesting to hear how because some people like lately like couldn't be further from her hometown. She's like, I hate it there, and like she's
That's
like, I
it.
get
He's
the
like, I
stuff
can't
from
wait
mom
to get
there.
out.
Yeah. For me, I was like, I go back there. I'm like, this place is kind of all right,
Yeah, absolutely.
I've always appreciated it, but yeah, it's interesting to get your perspective on that.
Yes.
We have a ton of write-ins this episode, not just about what's going on with Game Pass, but life updates, health updates, funny write-ins. We got all of that here. We appreciate everyone being a part of our show. Patreon.com/LastStandMedia is where you can get early ad-free access on Thursdays. Otherwise, you can find us on Sundays on free feeds everywhere. Apple, Google Podcast. Shout out to our partner Spotify, YouTube, Last Stand Media YouTube channel specifically. You can find us there. So we'll see you wherever we see you. But you could also write in on patreon.com/lastdaymedia like Adam Nix did, who writes, Hey Dukes, just wanted to thank you for keeping me company while I cleaned up my yard from the mess left by a recent hurricane as it passed through Houston. While I was cleaning up large amounts of debris from our many trees, I had the Dukes keeping me upbeat with their excitement for Avowed. I've still got some more work to do before we're all cleaned up. My family and I are fortunate to still have power, as there are 2 million without power as of Tuesday, and no major damage to our cars and house. Stay safe out there, Houston LSM family, and have I thought this was supposed to be a baby hurricane kind of day. Bro, I had that happen the other day. We thought it literally just said on the weather report, thunderstorms. Okay. Thunderstorms. Simple, right? Bro, this thing came through and tore up the whole entire town. We got destroyed. Wow. Trees everywhere. Like I stepped outside. There were people walking down the street with chainsaws in hand. Hey, like everyone, community was getting to work right away. Wow. I was like, looking around. It was unbelievable. So, Adam, we're glad you're doing well. Shout out to any of the LSM family who's caught out in Houston in the middle of this. I know we did a live show out there.
Yeah.
So, shout out to the Last Stand fam in Houston. But, Cog, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, man. Shout out to Houston fam. Just shout out to Texas realm of the Dukes too, because in general, obviously, I stayed at my co-host from Last Word, Ebontis. He's not too far from the Dallas area, and they had got hit with that whole thing. He was showing me the aftermath of trees going down and stuff like that. So what's funny, I was with my mom and she was telling me, she's like, yeah, Texas. I'm like, oh no. So I was thinking about him, and then I heard, it's Houston area, which is different. Not that there's any better, but so I would reaching out to a couple of the Houston Dukes and Lords and just making sure everybody's all right. Cause a lot of this stuff, man, you got to be careful. You got to be safe. Yeah. It's weird to hear like Texas getting hit with this kind of stuff, because you don't usually think about this kind of stuff in this era. So yeah, I hope everybody's all right. And shout out to Adam for writing in, man. Thankfully you got power. That's the worst thing. When you're out of power for extended periods of time, that is the worst, man. So yeah, I feel for that. Make sure you guys have those necessary things in place for situations like this.
It's always inconvenient to lose power, but there's a weird part of me that kind of likes it. There's always,
I'm weird like that. It's funny you said that. To get the candles and you do other things that you normally wouldn't do.
Yeah. The memories that are built in power outages last a lifetime is what I say. Like I can almost remember every power outage I experienced, because it was just, I remember like one time my whole entire family went on a walk around the development. We never do that together. Never. We spent a lot of time together, but not on like exercise, that's for sure. But we did that. I was like, dang, that's what happens when you lose access to technology. It's like, all right, well, what do we do now? It makes you wonder sometimes. But yeah, I low key am a savage for the power outages. I like them.
No doubt.
All right, we got it right in here from Kires Cabeza. So be me, an open-minded Ace Attorney fan listening to Defining Duke. Maddie, the #1 Danganronpa fan, his writing, not mine, is glazing his favorite visual novel series. I had bought the games on sale after hearing that they'd be removed from the Vita store, but never played them. I kind of had them to the side. Anyways, I'm going through the story, and tell me why this anime high schooler falls spread eagle wrapped in sausages with various liquids spilling onto her. Anyways, Maddie, I'm still playing, but how does it feel that Danganronpa has to pimp its female characters to make ends meet? P.S. Thank goodness it's on my Vita. My nieces and nephews could have been exposed to the harsher elements of visual novels. Yeah, I saw this making the rounds on the Defining Duke Discord server, and I completely say that I didn't even remember this moment until it was resurrected. I saw it. I was like, yeah, I do remember they. There's a couple of illustrations in the game that are a little like a touch out of pocket. Like Danganronpa isn't this like romance visual novel. Like I feel like so many of them are. Like there's really none of that, but they have I call them moments of weakness where they like we gotta for the fan base, like we gotta squeak this one in here. And I will just say when I pedal forth Danganronpa, this is not part of the equation. It's just, it's there. Move on. Now, wise choice on the Vita, right? Because this is available on all consoles. You can get it on Switch, Xbox, PlayStation. You can get it anywhere. But I think it's most home on the Vita or a handheld, so the Switch. But yeah, this is a good call when you have younger ones around because it's a very mature game. And not just, imagery like that, but more so the deaths, the destruction that you'll go through. It's quite a heavy game. So shield the children from Danganronpa is what I do say. Get any thoughts on this as someone who I put through the ropes here on Danganronpa?
Bro. Spread eagle with the sausages, fam?
I can show you the image if you want to see.
Yeah, let me see, because that sounds like that's nasty work.
Yeah, hold on. For those who want to know, it's Mikon from Danganronpa 2. I'm like so terrified of this Google search because I really don't know
what's gonna come up.
Yeah, what's gonna come up? Oh God. All right, I'm gonna type in food. All right, yeah, I got it. Yeah,
you got it?
Yeah. Oh, that's so bad.
Send me this link, man. Let's see what's going on in these streets.
It's so bad. All right.
All right. Oh, yo. Whoa. Yeah. They know what they doing, son. They know what they doing.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
This is part 2.
Yeah, this is number 2, bro. Yeah.
Savagery.
Yeah. I don't know. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think this is in Danganronpa 1. I will say Danganronpa 2 is my least favorite.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is when I was younger too. Right. So those thoughts, those beliefs hadn't fully been built in for the romance bros and sisters out there. You know what I'm talking about? Where maybe I would have wavered a little bit, but I don't really recall. So nonetheless, thank you for writing in. Continue everyone to play Danganronpa. Ignore Ace Attorney. Let's talk to Max Myers, who follows up about last week's Health is Wealth segment. For those who don't remember, we talked a bit about Souls games and their effects on personal health. And these back-to-back write-ins are really fascinating here. So this first one is a long one, but it's from Max. So let's follow up. It says, greetings, Dukes. I want to follow up on my submission last week about Souls games and the effects of chronic stress on your health. First off, Cog raises a great point when he talks about how accomplishing difficult tasks can build character and mental toughness. That's 100% true. When facing tough situations, I often think, nah, I beat Sekiro. I got this. That has boosted my confidence in those situations. Definitely valid. As for Maddie's case study with actually feeling an increased stress tolerance, I think this is explainable by one of two hypotheses. The first is that his diet, exercise, sleep, and recovery has been so on point recently that he has the adaptive capacity to maintain homeostasis in spite of that stress. The second is that the recent stress demand has raised cortisol, but also proportionally raised DHEA, a feel-good hormone that counteracts the downsides of cortisol and a precursor to testosterone. This is more of an acute type stress response. A short-term elevation in those two hormones generally feels pretty good, but with chronic stress, DHEA will eventually drop, which puts you in a catabolic state of muscle breakdown. If stress continues, cortisol will also drop below normal levels and you'll burn out. We used to call this adrenal fatigue, which isn't quite scientifically accurate, but it paints the picture well enough. During this state, your nervous system will often reach for adrenaline instead of the now depleted cortisol, which is 10 times more immediate, intense, and risky to be chronically high. Cortisol feels like a cup of coffee or a deadline at your job. Adrenaline feels like someone cut you off on the highway. A good rule of thumb would be, if you start to have those nervous, sweaty, irritable feelings, or you find yourself overreacting to other stresses in your life, take a step back for a while. Your nervous system believes you might actually be fighting for your life and is shunting blood and nutrients away from critical bodily functions. Digestion, detoxification, immunity, cellular metabolism, muscle mass, and other healthy organ functions, they all suffer. This is not a good thing if you are concerned about longevity and keeping your risk of chronic disease low. But if it's truly your calling to continue to foreclose on bosses and become the ultimate Eldon Chad, here are a couple of tips to moderate stress levels. 1, play earlier in the day when cortisol levels are naturally higher and you've got time to detox the stress hormones before sleep. 2, take a magnesium supplement to help process excess cortisol, and ashwagandha, what is it? Ashwagandha to help process adrenaline. I take magnesium every day. So.
Yeah, me too. I take that.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
3, to lower the feeling of stakes, cover the boss's health bar with a long piece of masking tape. Using 2 pieces of tape, one the width of your TV screen, the other several inches longer, then stick them against each other. The shorter one will guard the TV against tape residue, and the longer one will wrap around the stick to the back of the TV. Expect that you will never actually beat the boss. You are simply practicing. Enjoy the process, but don't get attached to the outcome. Find your zen, Shinobi. And number 4, this is so funny. I'll talk about this later. Turn off the game's soundtrack or audio when it is meant to build tension. You can replace it with something chill or something goofy. I finished my Frenzied Flame playthrough listening to a 4-hour loop of Curb Your Enthusiasm's theme song, which felt oddly appropriate. I hope that helps. I just want to also give a shout out to my beloved Australian Terrier Millie, who recently passed away at the age of 14. Sending all the love to my little baby bear and son, Queen. My submission was just read by the best video game podcast on the planet, Kinda Day, Max Myers, FDNP. Shout out to Max. Now, before we dive into that, this next write-in is fascinating too.
All right, let's go.
Bafflingly Confused follows up. Hey guys, as a big fan of Snark Tank listener / cult member as I am, I didn't want to address you guys with the insanely out-of-pocket titles. Instead, I actually have a personal interjection of sorts regarding a write-in on last week's episode in which it discussed Souls-like games and their potential effects on cortisol / dopamine release. I have what's called adrenal insufficiency, a condition where my body doesn't naturally produce enough steroid hormones on its own without taking hydrocortisone steroid supplements. I was diagnosed with this when I was in 4th grade in conjunction with hypothyroidism too. I would get terrible headaches and nausea in elementary school and wouldn't deal with stress well at all. Every year since, I've had follow-up appointments with an endocrinologist after getting a blood test. I'm 23 now. In short, where I'm at now is a significant improvement. I've been able to slowly wean off my original hydrocortisone dose to where, on average, my daily dose is only 10 to 15 milligrams. And I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life stamina-wise. What I've noticed is that while playing Dark Souls 3 for the first time earlier this year and replaying Elden Ring this week, I do feel more shaky than usual after marathon fights against bosses like Midir, the Nameless King, and Godric. But it's not a bad feeling at all. I feel great in that shakiness, if that makes sense. It's a release I don't feel very much, and I often feel noticeably more relaxed for the rest of the evening afterward. Whether it's my body's natural release of adrenaline without a stress dose needed, or it's the satisfaction of finally getting past that boss, I find Dark Souls and Elden Ring to be so helpful and cathartic for me personally. Anyway, have a great one, guys. And Cog, I've got that Bills and Niners game on December 1st, circled for sure. Honestly, looking forward to that game more than any other this season. That'll be a good one. So, Max, you can follow up on this if you got any additional insight. But, Cog, what do you think of the health is wealth push getting such a massive upgrade that we have a scientific breakdown here and a response as well to sort of what these Souls-like games are doing to people? So, I'll just say for step 3 for Max about taping the health part, we ain't doing that.
I ain't doing that.
I'll pay the consequences. I'll let all my organs suffer for that. We're beating that boss.
We ain't taping the OLED, fam. I'm not risking that. But yeah, salute to the homie. No, he's making some good point. I love the magnesium supplement recommendation as well. That's actually really efficient, especially the cortisol. People have a lot of excess cortisol stuff. But magnesium is good to take, in general. But no, this is interesting, right? The effects that it has on the body. Getting that adrenaline push and things at that moment, and sometimes having that negative effect. It is interesting about the soundtrack thing. I thought that was interesting too, because the game's natural music at those encounters is to induce tension, right? And a lot of times that's what pushes it over the edge for people, right? That's what really gets. And I have some friends like this that they're like, yo, I'll turn the game music off, or I'll switch it to something either more lighthearted or nothing, so that it doesn't have that type of a negative effect. Because I know horror games specifically for me have that effect, but I kind of revel in it. And I'm just like, all right, this is what it is. Because I'm from the era of like, yo, turn the lights dim. I want to really immerse myself in that. But to someone who suffers from anxiety or suffers from these conditions, I could see how that could be like problematic. Like that you could be like through the roof. So these are good suggestions. It is the other part I was going to say, when he mentioned about the feeling more shaky. Shout out to Bafflingly Confused, but he mentioned about being more shaky during these marathon fights. and he's saying it's not a bad fit. Where I can actually relate is in the competitive fighting scene. Like when I do Tekken 8 ranked, that's me. You know what I'm saying? It's just a heightened sense. And it's part nerves, it's part adrenaline, but it is a satisfying feeling in a weird way. And because I'm on edge, I'm like, yo, I got to be at my best. I got to, I'm facing the best guys. Oh, this guy is ranked such and such. And you know what I'm saying? It's something about, and it's about proving yourself against the unknown, right? So I get what he's saying there. This is interesting the way our body processes and, the stimuli that we're doing with these either challenging games like the Elder Ring and Dark Souls type games, or, competitive for me. But I'm curious for you, like, how do you relate to a lot of this stuff that the good Realm and the Dukes are talking about?
Yeah, number 4 is so funny when it comes to timing. I've never done this before, but I was fighting the final boss in Sekiro, and I won't say who or what, but I beat it, and my friend was tallying. It took me 18 tries. Around the 11th try, I got pissed at the music, and I was like, I'm shutting this off. And I've never done this before, but I was like, this music is so loud, and I felt like it was distracting, but I wonder if I was having a different reaction to it. I wonder if it was amping me up too much. And I made a joke. I said, I'm shutting off the music because this is what Sekiro would hear in this moment. I was like, this is more immersive. But yeah, and then I beat him pretty quickly after that. Like that, it took me a handful of tries after that, and he was done. I actually have to check the footage because I'm going to do a video on it, obviously. But I think it was, I don't know if I got on the 11th try. I got to check when I turned off the music and when I won, but it was pretty quickly after. And my heart was thumping for that fight. I mean, shout out to Sekiro, just fucking amazing game. I'll talk about that later as well. But that is so funny to see someone say, like, turn off the music. It's like amping you up too much. And I'm like, I did that. I literally did that. Yeah. It's so funny. The week after I mentioned, like, yeah, these Souls-like games don't really get me feeling any type of way. Sekiro is the first game to really get my heart pounding in a while, where I was like palm sweaty, nervous, just, oh my God, bro.
Perfect
some
parries.
Amazing boss fights, some of the best ever in gaming. So it's just so funny that I shut off the music and beat the final boss that way. And to see that, it's like, okay, I think I was going through what Max has been kind of breaking down here. Like I was really stressing out big time, and it was affecting my performance. And I lowered my stress by shutting off the music because there was no tension. It was just me and my enemy at that point. And there was something kind of great about that. I liked it, but I know for some people that's psychotic.
For some people that's sacrilegious. They like, we're not doing that kind of thing. But yeah, for some, you may have to do it, man. It ramps you up sometimes.
Got 2 more write-ins here. Continuing with a little more health as wealth. Jose writes in, greetings, Dukes. I realize this might be an unusual topic given your profession, but I'm curious about your experiences with potential gaming addiction. Your discussions on the health is wealth philosophy have prompted me to reflect on my own gaming habits, and I'm concerned that I may have developed an unhealthy attachment to gaming, possibly at the expense of other hobbies and aspects of my life. In an effort to address this, I've been trying to reduce my consumption of gaming-related content like YouTube videos, streams, and limit my time spent on multiplayer games, which seem to affect me most strongly. As someone who has recently graduated with a master's degree, I'm struggling to adjust to a life with more responsibilities and less free time, in contrast with my student days when I seem to have endless hours for gaming. Questions for you. Have you ever worried about having a gaming addiction or problematic relationship with games? Have you taken steps to moderate your gaming habits so that they are not the only thing you think about, or change your relationship with gaming for the better? How do you balance your gaming with other important aspects of life, such as friends, family, and other activities? I greatly appreciate hearing your thoughts and experiences on maintaining a healthy relationship with gaming, especially given your unique perspectives as professional gamers. Take care and have a wonderful day. Thank you, Jose, for writing in so transparently about this. We really appreciate it. I just want to kick things off and say, I think the best thing you can do if you're really struggling with something like this is treat gaming like a reward system. So if you can, like, it's a way you can enable your love of gaming, but you're still prioritizing things that got to get done before it. So you got this master's degree, you're getting a job, you can think about that game you're going to play later that day. Like, let that be your motivation. Like, oh, I can't wait to get home and play Shadow of the Erdtree. Like, think about that the whole day. Like, let that be your fuel, and let it be like, once you've done everything you need to do, like, okay, dogs are taken care of, dinner's cooked, wife's taken care of, we X, Y, and Z, everything's done. Now it's time for some Elden Ring, because now you know what you can do? You can indulge without any guilt, right? You want to remove the guilt from your situation. And I struggled not with like the feeling of an addiction, but I struggled with like, it was actually the opposite. I felt I was gaming so much and not getting enough done. And I was realizing how much free time was in my day. And I was like, I need to do more. And so I reworked my whole entire reward system in life. kind of based around gaming, because it's like I love doing this, and by limiting it, I'm going to love doing it more. So that would be my opening recommendation, is create a reward system around video games, and I think it'll get you going a little bit more.
No, that's great. Fantastic. Literally one point of what I was going to say, yeah, which is like, one of my models with that, hashtag health is wealth is also earning the right to game, right? So like you said, having those responsibilities that you say, okay, I got to knock all these things out. And then from there, now I've earned this right to sit in this couch or, in front of that TV or that PC and knock this thing out and have some fun, right? The other thing is, I feel like in this era of gaming, because we game so much, we everything's remote. You're on your headset and you're talking to friends and the homies. We don't socialize as much as we don't do physical meetings. And let's hang out. Like there's a plan. Let's go grab dinner. You know what I'm saying? Like one of the cool things that obviously King and our schedule is crazy, but just taking him out for his birthday last week, like it was so fun. And just Solve say, hey, I'll pull up, kind of thing. And me and Atticus had this discussion. There's something about, as much as we love gaming, we do have to do activities, in life to really get us outside the house. And that works in part with going to the gym and doing the physical stuff, but also just social interactions. Because I feel that human interaction is really more important these days, especially for my generation. I'm from the era of like you had friends, and gaming was new, but it's like, hey, you going over to Maddie's house, or Maddie's coming over to Cog's house, and we're gonna go hang out together and do something first. And I think that is also part of it. But salute to Jose, man. I love the professionalism and the way he's kind of compartmentalized and said, hey, I do need to work better. Salute on the degree. That's we gotta salute that in the realm of the Dukes. But yeah, it's a great question, and just trying to have that balance, right? You still have, look, we love the game. You know how it gets sometimes. You're like, all right, I know I'm supposed to go to bed, but I want 2 more bosses, man. Like, I could knock this thing out. I'm close. It happens. Just make sure that you pay it back. That's one of my main things too.
Yeah. I would also throw out there, because you mentioned multiplayer games. Like I mean, clearly I'm biased. I love single player games. I don't want to take anyone's joy away from multiplayer gaming. I will say though, that that's where the one more game kind of feel kicks in, keeps you going. Gaming becomes a little more of an obligation if you're engaging in certain types of day job games that a certain co-host of mine may endorse. I kid. But yeah, I would say personally connect with more single player games, because then you have the choice. There's nothing really pulling you in outside of your own desire, which can be moderated a little bit more with some self-control. I would say focus on more story-driven stuff, things that you can put down for a week if you got to dial in on life. And just monitor decisions. It's okay to have that internal thought of like, oh man, my friend wants to hang out, but I kind of want to just do nothing today. Like, I think that's a very normal human thought. It's just about the action you take, right? Like, what do you put into motion? And sometimes you're going to want to just chill at home. Like, that's normal. Don't guilt yourself over it. But when you start prioritizing games over like everyone, that's where you can develop a problem. So just catch yourself in those moments of decision making and be like, you know what? Normally, I would say I'm going to go play this game and come up with some excuse. Encourage yourself to get out there a little bit more and make it where you look forward to getting home and gaming, whatever it may be. Make sure you take those work responsibilities serious, but also make sure that like family, friends, those they're priorities, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
My friend is very open that like he does appointment hangouts so that he can like disappear for a few weeks. So he'll be like, I'm gonna show up to this hangout, and then we're not hanging out for like another 3 weeks. It's like, okay, like that's how he operates. Like he kind of pays his dues, his social dues, and then he kind of feels comfortable piecing out for a while. And I'm like, some people function that way. So he says he does it with his other friend groups and us. I'm like, bro, I haven't seen you in like a fucking month. Like I think I know it's not just us. But yeah, that's just the only other thing I'll add in there.
Salute.
All right, last write in here, and then we're into the news. Derek Beek writes, hi, this is just a follow-up story about Forza Horizon 4 being delisted. While you guys are most definitely right, or almost definitely right, about the main reason for this being licensing, want to give some perspective. Forza seems to be the one of the franchises with the shortest licensing deals out of the many racing games that come out. Franchises like Need for Speed have their entries all the way back to 2012 with licensed music and cars still available to purchase. I just really hate to see games being delisted after only being available to purchase for 6 or so years. I think it's a bad look for Xbox when there's evidence of these games that don't have to be delisted if licensing is done properly from the beginning. And I thought this was an interesting train of thought because we never really analyzed other racing games on the market. But what do you think of what Derek had to throw out here on this and Xbox's delisting of Forza Horizon 4?
Yeah, shout out to Derek. Look, I guess I understand where he's coming from when you try to compare it to other franchises, and we talked about like the complexity with these deals with music and actually cars, right? And less specifically cars with Forza. So I guess my pushback would be when you use terminology or verbiage like properly done, right? If you look at the sheer volume of cars that a Forza Motorsport or Forza Horizon has in comparison to a Need for Speed, right? That's where I think it's not a apples to apples kind of thing, because a lot of these car dealerships, where sometimes it's package deals, sometimes it's marketing. There's all different levels of things that go involved with getting these cars into your game. And I think there's a graphic someone sent me, and this is in reference to like I think it was a Gran Turismo 7 Sport, and then I believe Motorsport, and they had, I think it was like the base game. Here it is, like the base game. I'll send it to you, man, so you can see it as well. Yeah. The base game of for Gran Turismo 7 had like 424 cars in the base game, right? And then Forza Motorsport 7 had 673, right? Then in addition to that, 112 cars post-launch in DLC or whatever. So again, a lot of it, sheer volume, structure. What I'm just basically trying to say is it's hard for me to get mad at them to say properly done when you have probably more cars than everyone else. And again, these are companies. It's a financial responsibility to it. So I think it's still a little bit more of a nuanced conversation as opposed to, hey, they're not properly doing it correctly. Yeah. That part I struggle with. But look, I get it. It's a fair point. Other games do things differently. But I will say I think volume does play a factor into it, and the deals and relationship you have with car manufacturers. You know what I'm saying? So
right on. Well, thank you everyone for your fantastic write-ins. And now we move into the news here, beginning with Banjo Kazooie. Jez Corden spoke on the Xbox 2 podcast on the rumored Banjo Kazooie games, which have floated around for a while. His words are, quote, "I can tell you right now, categorically, there is no Banjo game in development as of this podcast. On the 26th of June, 2024, there is no Banjo game in development right now." And quote, very firm, ironclad statement here from the man, the myth, the legend, Jez Corden of Windows Central Gaming. What do you make of this, Cog? I think this is some, if true, disappointing news.
Yeah. I feel for the Banjo bros. Yeah. I feel for y'all. This is tough because I know there was a lot of expectation that this still could happen. And yeah, Jed's a pretty trusted source with this. So the fact that there's no, I guess my thing is, even though Cog, I don't really care about these games like that, but in fairness, I'm just sad that there's no team that could pick it up or wants to do it, right? Like, and maybe it goes to a shift in just where they think the franchise is, and if they think it would be something that's even profitable. I think that has a factor into it. I know we see titles like this on Nintendo Switch, and we have to be honest in terms of the Xbox base and someone wrote in the writing like, Cog has a problem with the what is it, the creepy uncle games. Use family term. All right, we're going to use the proper term. Family oriented games. I think there is evidence to potentially support that the Xbox base maybe necessarily doesn't gravitate towards family oriented style games, and that may be a factor. That's just my guess. Just guess.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I think it's a missed opportunity for sure, because I know with Activision, they're going to get a slew of more family-friendly games, Crash. We can assume, at least right now, that Spyro is in development over at Toys for Bob, the purple skewed sort of announcement posts and everything being purple, the Year of the Dragon. Like, there's a lot of hints out there. The partnership with Xbox now, they own the IP. There's a lot there that suggests Spyro's on the way. So there are these more younger friendly tailored games. We've covered Game Pass editions. Like there was the Bluey game thrown into Game Pass, for example. So there are ways Xbox is tailoring things to a younger generation. I just think something like Banjo is such a missed opportunity to have. Like, you need levels to your mascot. I think Xbox has a plethora of different figures they can use for like M and T rated games, but like, what's their Astrobot? Like, what is their E for everyone mascot? What is the kid friendly mascot that you get a generational fan out of it? Like, what do you bring them? Like, PlayStation brought me in with Sly Cooper, Jack and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank. And then I stayed for things like Resistance, Ghost of Tsushima, and so on. Like, how do you get a generational fan out of someone? Xbox did do that, right? With like the original Xbox, they had a lot of younger friendly games. I think of like Oddworld, like them getting Munch's Odyssey got me into the Xbox. It's one of my favorite games ever. And from there, Halo. From there, Gears. So many other, you get a generational fan out of them. So you need something to lure them. It sounds weird to say, like lure them in while they're young.
Lure the kids.
That's not a gotcha game, by the way.
I had to get.
But I think a Banjo game would be perfect for that, right?
Oh,
There, you know, the games that we look at from our childhood, like I appreciate Sly Cooper as a game now more than maybe I did as a kid, because as a kid it was like this fun stealth focused game, but when I play as an adult, like it's aged so well in its writing and its style, and I think we can get those games like an Astrobot that's tailored for all audiences, like truly E for everyone. And I think not doing anything with Banjo is just missing out on something potentially there. I'm surprised. Like I would understand if it's like there is something, but it's off for a few years. But to hear there's absolutely nothing, like I get if it's not Rare. Rare is kind of on their own path. I think people need to give up on Rare being this company that they haven't been for a long while. But just to not have anything at all is a little bit concerning, a little bit of an oversight, I think.
Yeah, no,
provided this is true. You know, there's always the possibility Jez gets it wrong, especially because there have been rumors before this saying, like, I've heard there's a Banjo game in development. Like, it's happening. So who do you believe at this point?
Yeah, it's a good point. And look, as even though, like I said, it's not the genre for me, I do agree with you in the sense that, you know, I've always in support of the beauty of what I love about the ecosystem. There's this diverse level of games and styles of games on the platform, right? That's what kind of makes Game Pass cool to me and makes the ecosystem cool to me. So yeah, I agree. It's never good to have a deficiency in a genre, right? Mm-hmm. The same way I would be up in arms about where the fighting games, right? Yeah, so there definitely needs to be that. It's just interesting. This is a big IP that they control, that, like you said, that there's no desire to want to do it, especially with the ecosystem they created and the Game Pass service that they claim, you know, will help have these type of games and support these, you know, smaller titles in it. So yeah, I have to give you that, like in the sense that it is disappointing that, you know, it wasn't getting me. I never want to see somebody who loves a franchise not get what they want in conjunction with a younger demographic, which you made, which is like could be a potential generational fan in the future because of these things. The only thing I can remember is like Super Lucky's Tale and, you know, you know, what was it? Ori, I don't know if we consider that because it's based on a challenge and stuff like that. But yeah, it is interesting how they classify that and why they don't want to lean that way.
Yeah, because I get why they'd shy away from some games. Like you mentioned Super Lucky's Tale. Like I get why, because like it wasn't like a massive hit with people. They did that re-release, which was better, I think, than the original game. But like that wasn't like a massive hit for people. But like Banjo's a proven name. It's well known across the industry. You know, there is that familiarity. Like it was a big announcement when Banjo was coming to Smash, for example.
Yeah. No,
so I just think Xbox might be missing out on something by not tapping into some of their IP for different generations of fans. Yeah. Like obviously, you know, you think of the Banjo Bros who were out there like, man, I don't want another entry in this series, but I think it goes beyond that. Like there's so many dead franchises that Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo all have their hands on that they haven't done much with. But I think Xbox is in a unique position where this could generally benefit them in a really strong way. And I think they're kind of missing out on something with that. You know, who's not missing out on kid-friendly games is PlayStation right now. Guerrilla Games spoke about an Xbox version for Lego Horizon Adventures. I'm surprised they even answered this. Quote, right now, we're just very much focused on pushing this hardware to its limits and making this game look as absolutely amazing as it can possibly be on this hardware. And, you know, we don't really have anything to announce about Xbox right now, end quote. I found it surprising that this is coming from Guerrilla Games and they said right now. I was like, okay, so it actually might happen. I don't know how much I should really read into this, but they have given a response to the lack of an Xbox version, because for those who don't know, Lego Horizon Adventures is on Switch, it's on PlayStation, it's on PC. No Xbox version whatsoever, though. So, Cog, what do you think about this? Do we ever see a Horizon game come to Xbox?
I'm with you. I'm shocked again. Why use verbiage right now? Like, you know, we don't have plans or the Xbox version. It is interesting to me that they utilize that terminology. Again, maybe I'm looking more into it, but I feel if you make a publishing on what is it, PlayStation Publishing
Yeah.
LLC is what it's called. When you watch the Nintendo Direct, that's how Horizon was there. And it was the big surprise for everyone. We're like, oh wow, they're putting this is to me the flirting. This is you're experimenting with putting your IPs that are known for PlayStation exclusive onto other platforms. So I'm keeping my eye open for that. To me, that's not definitive. You say you utilize the word Xbox. That's the other thing. You could have said
true. They
any
actually acknowledge
additional.
the existence of us. Oh
That's
man.
huge. Like again, I know people say, "Oh, you're reaching." You look. I'm not. I'm looking at that. I'm looking at that. You could have said many other statements. You always got to look at the way marketing and a lot of these PR teams use verbiage.
Yeah.
This pointed. And again, we got to talk to the Sacred Boys, but since Hiroki's been there, and we did hear about him wanting to make changes and making things more profitable for them, mobile, other things. Who knows? But we'll say this. I'll leave it here. It was very shocking to me to see that game on Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest.
I
Like
get
that's a huge deal to me. I was like, wow, that is a known IP, Aloy and Horizon, being on another platform. And I know it's Lego, but they were not co-opted. This is Guerrilla and PlayStation wants this to happen. That's how I look at it.
PlayStation's been really fascinating to watch lately. Like we just learned how Ghost of Tsushima was the best-selling game of May when it came out on PC. Helldiver speaks for itself.
Yeah.
They're finding success on other platforms, which is exciting because Xbox is doing the same thing. So slowly those walls are coming down. It's just interesting to see, like, you're not ready, even in PlayStation in such a dominant position, is not ready to take some sort of perceived optical loss of bringing something to Xbox day and date with the rest of their customers. Like that separation, they still think very much benefits them, even with something that's like a Lego title, where I think like this is a situation that it sounds foolish because like Lego Horizon looks completely different from the actual Horizon games, but aren't these sorts of things like you bring that to Switch because you think it's going to do well there and people are going to look at that and come to PlayStation. So why wouldn't you want to do that to like your most direct competitor and just like lure those fans over and be like, hey, I could get down with a little more of this. I don't know, but it's interesting to think a bit about. And yeah, again, I'm with you on finding his answer surprisingly willing to acknowledge Xbox, which I know the standard's low, but just we've covered a lot of like PlayStation's comments, especially during like the FTC days and everything. Like this is very different from their usual way of speaking about Xbox, where acknowledging their existence and saying like we're not going to talk about anything right now or announce anything right now for them. So thought it was interesting. Wanted to point it out.
I agree.
All right, next up here, I apologize to this insider because their name and how they're written, I think it's Exasis, but I don't know. But nonetheless, they've claimed that Atlas Fallen is coming to Xbox Game Pass soon. And prior to this, he had correctly revealed that Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons would be arriving in May Game Pass as a drop. So looks like Atlas Fallen, which came out. Actually, I moved in, and Atlas Fallen was one of the first games that I reviewed in this house. So we're about a year away from that game, and it's coming into Game Pass. For those who don't remember, this is the open world sand sliding game with action combat. And I call it Forspoken 2.0 in that it had a lot of familiar elements from that game. For a lot of people, hidden gem, kind of a guilty pleasure, not awful, but not amazing. I personally think it's a perfect fit for Game Pass in that sense of you might find something that you enjoy, surprisingly, or it's a quick pick up and go, no. For me, I didn't think this game was all that fantastic. So after I reviewed it, I moved on pretty quickly. But Cog, will you be checking out Atlas Fallen if this report is true?
Yeah, I already checked it out. I covered that game when they debuted. Great team, I believe French based, or at least one of the developers I was talking to about it was it had a unique flow to it. I will say that. Like I said, that whole sand sliding combat, jump in the air kind of thing. I agree with you. I do think it makes a good Game Pass fit to try to see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And I know obviously seen the reviews of it, so what you put out there, and I'm curious if it does resonate, with people give it a shot kind of thing. But I thought, like I said, it had a lot of potential. It was just like I said, I think for me, I couldn't justify buying it at that time when other things were coming out adjacent to it. But I'm gonna throw that joint in Game Pass. Hey, well, I'll see what's going on.
Yeah, for me, I'm well moved on from
Yeah,
Atlas Fallen. So
you
for
good,
those who are interested, you enjoy that.
no doubt.
All right, just a little heads up here. Xbox Summer Sale 2024 is live now, over 300 games discount if you want to go ahead and check that out. At the same time, they are actively discounting Xbox 360 games on the marketplace as the storefront is shutting at the end of this month on July 29th. They're adding more titles to that discount on July 16th. So if you want to set a little reminder for yourself to check then and get some games before they are delisted. Any games you do buy for the 360 are always there for you, available for you, as long as they're attached to your account. So think of it kind of similar to what was happening with PS3, Vita, and the PSN, where they were tearing down those parts of the network. People freaked out. PlayStation was like, whoa, 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 like you can still download games you already own. Xbox is doing the same thing for the 360. And so if there's any last minute games you want to buy, there's that. But there's also just this entire summer sale available for you. So Cog, anything you plan on picking
Yeah,
up, or are you a busy man, a taken man with some games to play right now? Steam sale was just live as well, so Xbox timing
yeah.
this kind of well.
There's some ones I want to pump out though. Like, yo, if y'all ain't played Kingdom Come Deliverance, man, $3, fam. $3. Like, please go check that out. And then I'm looking at, I got a campaign for Tekken, a little 40% off Tekken 8 right now. Go check that out. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy 14. I believe that was in Game Pass at one point. I don't know if it still is. But no, there's a couple of joints in here. Hogwarts.
Yeah.
If somehow you manage to miss out, $27. I'm looking at that right there. So yeah, there's some cool stuff in there that I feel are worth the price of admission, especially if you missed out. I think these are really, really good deals.
Yeah, absolutely. So check that out if you're interested in getting some games on sale. Next up, we have news on City Skylines 2. It was one of the more heavily anticipated games last year. Came out on PC broken. They pretty much admitted it was going to be broken at launch. And then the console version for Xbox got delayed. Now, missing its release date again. It's not even very soon. It's in October. They released this in a statement. Unfortunately, we have not yet met the stability and performance targets we set for the console release. Without a release candidate, RC, we are now unable to meet an October release window. While we are making slow but steady progress, there are still unresolved issues impacting the game in ways that harm the player experience we want to deliver. We expect to receive a new RC, which will undergo a thorough review in August. This evaluation will determine whether we can begin the submission process and provide a solid release date, or if further issues need to be addressed, end quote. So this console version's been in the works for a while, and it's still taking its dang time getting out, which is very disappointing to see. Cog, any thoughts on City Skylines 2 on console seeing another delay followed up by the broken PC release?
Yeah, that PC joint was broke. I feel bad because this is one of the ones that showcased before that I had my eye on. Like, I used to have that bug, man, where it used to be. I remember playing I think it was Super Nintendo, where I played my first Sim City game, and I got into it, like Industrial Zone, Commercial Zone. And then shout out my time at Meta. There was a game called Little Cities, and he was virtually doing that. To me, it brought back the Sim City vibe. It's a thing on my palette that I didn't realize how much I like it. So I was pulling to see, okay, how this game, when it comes out, will that reignite something for me? So I was actually going to really try this game. So yeah, look, I'm all about, if you need more time, delay the game for sure. You know what I'm saying? But it's just unfortunate. It just seems like this team just having a lot of snags and getting this thing out. And yeah, I would really like to give this thing a shot. So hopefully they can get their performance issues and things done, and hopefully we get a new release date. I do want to check it out. It did look cool with the trains and all that other stuff going on. And I
these
do
games
like,
are positively addictive, apparently.
yes. Yeah, especially if you got a nice little theme, musical chill, creating your little city, seeing things develop. It's a vibe to it. And I started to realize I started to get into those type of games. So come on, Skylines 2, let's get that date. Let's get it together. Yeah. Hopefully you guys can get it across.
I think them skipping October is still a good call in general. It's like,
oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's like, what do you guys benefit from releasing in October at this point? Pride? Give yourself a fighting chance at least. For God's sake.
We go head to head with COD. We wait.
Yeah, come on. Wake up. All right. Let's talk a bit about the Xbox Amazon Fire Stick TV ad, which debuted. And there's a certain tagline that's got some Xbox fans stirred up. In particular, Hunter Saley says, "Hey, Dukes, with Microsoft announcing its new, you don't need an Xbox to play Xbox strategy, I was wondering what you guys thought of the reveal advertisement, as well as if you guys can see yourself using the service at all. As someone who doesn't want to lug around a console when traveling, the idea of throwing a Fire Stick and controller in my bag for trips is enticing. Have a did this Xbox news excite you or make you want to scream kind of day? Thank you, Hunter, for writing in. Yeah, some were kind of stirred up by this whole idea that like you don't need a console to play, but this is the whole every screen strategy continues to ramp up. I think the tagline is very interesting because it does devalue the console. Let's be real. You don't need an Xbox to play. Oh, I don't. I learned something that was kind of interesting when speaking to Locke, which is you want to remove any negative connotation from like your marketing statements, like don't or can't, like anything that's negative, just pop it out there. So just say you don't need an Xbox. I'm surprised that got greenlit. I know I'm being a little nitpicky here, but that to me, like you don't want to say that. Like you don't need our console. It's like this should get people into the console, bro. So they see your games on Game Pass. They're like, oh, I like this ecosystem. It seems like they're fine with newly adjusted prices with just your Game Pass subscription. But I don't know. I saw it. I was like, I get the idea. Don't know how it got the green light, though. What do you think about this advertisement?
This is the funniest debate right now because, the console bros ain't having it. Mm-hmm. Console bros are not. Shout out to my brother Attic. He going through it. He taking all the slings and arrows. And he's standing on business because he's just like, how can you complain? Not complain about, they're not complaining necessarily publicly about the console selling, but we see the results, right? So what I found interesting, did you actually watch this commercial, Manny?
Yes.
Did you? It was like a horror movie. You don't need a console, girl. Like
there was something very different about it.
They are tripling down.
Yep.
Like that's what I find very interesting because on one hand you have the console fan base. I just say specifically, doesn't constitute everybody, but the console fan base is not happy. They want the console to succeed. There is a fear that because of this shift, they think that you're going to accelerate yourself into third party, being Xbox, and to see Xboxes, not going to say they're directly responding to them, but to see whatever this shift in is marketing, someone has greenlit. I even did a poll on IOP. Do you think the verbiage "no console required" is a good idea? Right? Surprisingly, it was close. Surprisingly, people were like, no, they have to expand to other markets. We get it. But it was very close. It was a very competitive poll. So, look, I think the last time, I remember the first time I saw, I think I was with you. It was a motorsport event and we were previewing it. And I saw right above tagline, console not, I was like, wow. Me and King looked at each other like, wow, This is a shift.
Yeah, so, they're detaching from it in a way that they're making it, they're very Valve-like is what I define it as. Like a lot of people think like it's a complete walk away, but I think if you look at it in context of the company already existing that way, right. I think they're aspiring to be a lot like Valve. Like, we do hardware, it's just not our main thing. It's like, just as long as you can access us.
Right. And I think you made a key point that you said it in conversation with Locke. I guess I understand if it's about sustainability and the overall growth of the platform, I'm all for that. But I am curious about saying don't or know how that affects or negatively affects someone interested in a console. I think that's a valid complaint to be like, why would anybody buy the console if you keep telling them no, you don't need it, right?
It's confirming the fear, uncertainty, and doubt surrounding the platform in a weird way. Like it's them, you could tell their messaging is trying to say like, we're here. In fact, we're in more places than ever before, but you keep saying like, but the way you support that is by being like, you don't need that. It's like, that's not like, I don't think that's how you market. It's like, make it more invitational, make it more like join the Xbox family. I don't know. That's an awful one too.
More places to enjoy.
More places to play. Like, come on.
That, I get that. But like, nah, fam, you don't want that.
Yeah.
You got this. You don't need that.
You just need a controller. It's like, okay, maybe we're getting there with something like that, but no console. Like, why are you removing that from the equation?
I got more thoughts on that as we get it when we get into the main event. I have some thoughts about that. Yeah. We'll talk about it. But this is the fun one. I did see the discourse.
Indeed. All right. Hunter, thank you for writing in. Let's talk a bit about BioShock. Spotted by Video Games Chronicle, BioShock developers Cloud Chamber Studios are apparently recruiting like mad. Their words, not ours, according to the company's official website. There's a ton of open positions right now, so they're staffing up. I am so curious what this game is going to be like, because you want to talk about fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It's this one. No Ken Levine, BioShock. There were rumors that it was going to be sort of live servicey at one point with some of the hirings they were making, like a monetization specialist was being hired at the company. We're like, why do you need that for BioShock? Et cetera, et cetera. Collins' reports on the setting and stuff were very encouraging and exciting.
Nice.
But at the same time, it's like, why is this taking so long? Like, I thought this was something 2K would have wanted out. Like, if you told me when it was first revealed, I think it was 2019, like, hey, you'll be playing this game by like 2023. You'll know what it looks like by 2024. I'd be like, yeah. In fact, that seems like a long wait, but okay, sounds good. And to not even have a clue about this game, to know that it's probably a 2025 game, maybe even longer than that. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I'm surprised by the wait here, but what do you make of Cloud Chamber stocking up here?
Yeah, it is interesting. Hiring like mad, so on one side, I'm happy, they're trying to gauge interest and get that development push going for a project that they seemingly are excited about. But the other hand, I'm like, damn, like, don't we would know something about what's going on now? Like, what's going on with y'all? And there's a lot of pressure here. Like you said, no Levine, this is a storied franchise. Like, there's some pressure coming in here. So I'm not going to freak out and get crazy, but I am surprised we have not gotten the big morsels or any type of a big serious advertising push just yet, considering where we are in the timeline of development. So hopefully they're surprised and they knock this thing out. But yeah, definitely a little questionable. Like, all right, what's going on with y'all? What's the deal?
Next up here, Cog. Dragon Age Veilguard romance details for the romance bros and sisters out there who want to get their freak on. Talked about this.
Don't you label us.
Avowed. Come on, that's what you guys want.
Hey, don't share your bug.
BioWare is well known for this. And in fact, this first bullet point here from Shinobi602 will greatly please all of you. Veilguard will be BioWare's most romantic game yet. Each companion has a relationship level tied to Rook, affected by all of your choices in the world. You gain a skill point that you can spend on each companion when you rank up their relationship level. Each companion has 5 unique upgradable abilities. You can bring 3 into combat, which can synergize with your Rook's build. Each companion's issue, personal quests, etc., play into their relationship with you. Friendships are also an important aspect, not just romance. Shout out to the platonic bros and sis out there.
Shout out to platonic.
Romances are all different. Some characters are straight to the point, while others have never been in a relationship before and can be a little awkward. Relationships are another way to level up companions on top of XP and skill points. Conversations can affect your standing with them. Companions are pansexual. They can be attracted to you regardless of the Rook's gender or other NPCs. Companions can also form romances with each other, especially if you give one the cold shoulder. They actually may embrace someone else. All right, Cog. How does this sound as the bona fide romantic Duke?
Man, bro, stand up. We got it, man. We can listen to Val. This how you do it, baby. I'm coming for you, Black Rock. This is what I want. BioWare has set the tone. They've laid the gauntlet down. They are the GOATs when it comes to this romance thing. Actually, I want to give Larry some love though. But look, this is amazing. You should not have sent me that. I was like, oh my God, I did not know.
I sent it to you well ahead of the show.
Yes, you're a good friend. Because you knew I was going to go off with this. Listen, this is amazing. Let me tell you why. Because one, I like 2 key things. One, that you can just have friendships. So if Maddie don't want to go there, just
me. I'm romance.
Maddie don't want to get his freak. That's him. He just want to have a nice quest to just be your friend, and that's cool. But us romance bros, you quested with this person for a long time. Sometimes you might look across each other from the campfire every now and then. You know what I'm saying? And it's okay to it have these feelings once in a while, express them. And what I like, there's levels to it, right? Quest and stuff tied to it. I love, to me, the killer bullet point is companions can also form romances with each other. I've never really seen that. So think Mass Effect and you ain't getting it pop off, especially if one's giving the cold show. So let's just say I said no to Tally. And then Tally starts sliding off with Garrus. Like, that's fire.
Yeah.
That to me is symbiotic. That's what I consider the next level of relationships in video games. This is what I want to see. Now, I will push back slightly. There's not really a bad pushback. They said companions are pansexual, which is cool. You know, you can be attracted to you regardless of your rook gender. This is just me being silly. There was a part of me with Mass Effect, like, oh no, excuse me, Dragon's Age Inquisition. That I did like the idea of some companions having set sexualities, right? So it's just like, yo, he only into or she's only into, and based on your character's choice, that wasn't available. But I understand the benefit. They may be saying from a development standpoint, we want to give everybody the chance to equally. Whatever.
For me, I was so annoyed when I realized I couldn't romance Suvi and Andromeda.
That's what it is. I was like,
okay, bro, come on. Like, yeah. And that's, I respect it. I think a lot of people thought this was like a forced sort of inclusion move. And I'm like, no, I think it's just really annoying when you got like the one character you care about
that you like,
want to romance, and you can't romance them.
Fair.
And it's because like you're not the right gender. Like, I get the idea. And for some people, like, it's an immersion breaking thing. But for me, as someone who like is selective with romance, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Yeah. And then it's like, no, sorry. Like, I'm not into dudes. It's like, okay, I respect that. I get that. But like, you're a video game character.
You in the realm of the Dukes. You better get down. Look, I get it. It's a push-pull because there's a part of you. My slight pushback was a part of me that's like, yo, like in real life, some people like, yo, fam, you a good looking dude, but you not my flavor. Like, I'm in the chick. So I get it. But to your point, it is a video game. And it looks like they are definitely, you know, thinking of guys like you in mind, where, let's be honest, sometimes you may not like the roster, right? And it's just like this one character you like, and it's like, damn, you know, they ain't into me kind of thing. But I want to also, for my Inquisition bros, I want to shout out, because I found this out later on a playthrough. The reason why I love BioWare the way they do it is, you see the character point, romances are different. Some characters are straight to the point, while others have never been in a relationship before. I gotta shout out one of the best created characters that I found out, I didn't even know had this arc, is Iron Bull from Inquisition.
Yeah.
Someone showed me, you know how like you got all these trees? Someone showed me a tree. I didn't even know he was romanceable, because apparently he is pansexual. His race is like, yo, we get down for whatever, whoever was going on. His
romance is hilarious.
Yes, someone sent me the clip.
Yeah, it's so
and
good.
Threw him up against the wall. Like, yeah, you sure you want to do this? You sure? Ain't no turning back now. I'm into this thing here. I could get wild with it. I said, this is the greatest game ever. I never knew this existed. So, and then, but also in fairness, you could respond a different way. And it's like, look, out of respect for you, we could take things slow. We ain't got to do the best way of handling varied romances and things like that. Shout out to BioWare. Romance bros, we eating good. Yeah. I'm good now. I'm over it. This is the best news of the week. Thank you, Vanny Plays, for this one.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Shout out to the romance bros and sisters out there. Hope you enjoyed that one. For me, I'd like to talk a little bit about Star Wars Outlaws. When speaking with IGN, Ubisoft stated that 3 of the 5 planets in Star Wars Outlaws can be crossed by a speeder in 4 to 5 minutes. More direct comparison was made, saying that a planet would be about 2 to 3 zones in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So, how about that for scope and scale? They said that they're going to focus more on quality, not quantity. So I don't know, man. I don't know how, if you just pull yourself out of like the whole pre-order bonus thing, I don't know how you look at this and don't grow a little level of optimism. Like, okay, like they seem they're taking a different approach, especially again, I always remind people like this is from Massive. They did Division 1 and 2. Like those were out of even the Ubisoft junk. Like those were some of the best games they made. So I don't know. I'm feeling really good about this game. Like I feel like they're doing all the right things. 5 planets. That's not Ubisoft like. That's not Ubisoft like at all. Like that's usually they have 50 planets, I feel. And they would all be massive level gated areas. So it's like, hey, yeah, you could cross these in 4 to 5 minutes, which is still pretty sizable landmass. But like, I can't wait because we really don't have that open world Star Wars game to know it's not going to be like overwhelming and it's going to be room to explore in space and whatnot. Super pumped about this stuff, bro. So yeah, very excited to see what Ubisoft's cooking with Star Wars Outlaws. Just a little bit over a month to go now. So not much longer. Literally can't not wait. What about you? How are you feeling about this news?
Yeah, I don't have too much to add. For me, I don't really take too much stock in when the people like, you can travel around 4 or 5, but to me, it's about the content that's in it and the context of it. And obviously, to me, the more direct comparison, like you said, was the 2 to 3 zones in ACI. That to me seems substantial. So I'm fine. But I guess I saw some people freaking out, and I was just like, just because of the speeder thing and like minutes. But I'm like, imagine if you did that in other games that are extremely dense and are highly populated, and you just put a speeder around it and say you got around 3 to 4 minutes. Does that devalue the game? To me, it's about the actual content in it. So that's where I'm at. It seems super promising. I'm very excited to see where they go and how this thing reviews, because so far everything I'm hearing sounds cool to me.
Absolutely.
Minus the Job of the Hat thing.
Yeah,
that
sucks. Next up here, we have, according to German outlet GameStar, Gothic Risen and Elix developer Piranha Bytes is the latest studio to be shut down by Embracer. However, in more uplifting news, 2 former Piranha Bytes leads have teamed up to form Pithead Studio, which will focus on, quote, immersive and fantastic indie games, end quote. So, a shame here. I actually thought of Carrick immediately with this news. Like, he is super about Elix. Like, I think Carrick, above anyone else, appreciates the Eurojank more than any other reviewer out there. Like, Elix was a thing he talked about constantly. I was reading some of the responses to this online because I wasn't sure if, like, is this just another Embracer moment? But a lot of people feel like this is mostly Piranha Bytes' fault. A lot of people felt like they hung with games like Elix for too long, which were like deemed failures, and like did another entry and were trying to do a third entry. And obviously they weren't making enough money and there wasn't enough interest. And we see the result of that. So some people say that this is actually less on Embracer. At the same time, I'm surprised with, if they were failing that much, why they were like one of the last to be, I shouldn't say last, because who knows when this is all done with Embracer, but one of the later ones to get shut down. But the conversation around it was kind of interesting. Have you played any games from Piranha Bytes at all? And what do you make of another studio shutdown, but one opening up from some of the similar minds that guided Piranha Bytes?
No, thank you for the context. I did not know that about how things are being felt. Because my initial reaction is of course embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? What was the plan? What was and that just seemed to be the more confusing entities out there when they went so crazy. And I was just like, all right, I understand the value of the properties, but what is your long-term goal? I don't see what that is, right? And then I'm also going to look at how the games release after, right? When they're acquired. So yeah, that was the part I was initially going with. But I didn't know that, what you call it, that the community felt that way in reference to the Helix games and the quality and them actually maybe being responsible. But I do like the fact of studios coming together and now forming something else. Saying I'm always going to be a fan of what I consider, AKA the circle of life kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And that to me is at least a little promising, this Pithead Studio part, So I'm looking to see what's up. I like immersive and fantastic indie games, so I am very excited about that. That seems like COG kind of game. So I'll be following Pithead Studio for sure.
Absolutely. So yeah, best wishes to those who were affected by the layoffs, and we hope everyone lands on their feet, and looking forward to seeing what Pithead's going to be working on here. Next up here, we have COG. This is all you. A new Yakuza game, maybe? During Anime Expo, developer Ryuga Gotoku has said that their next game project will, quote, surprise fans, end quote. What do you think it could be?
I mean, as a person who ended Infinite Wealth, shout out to the homies, you know what I'm saying? Kiryu, and of course, the GOAT Ichiban. I got it there. Just a little.
That knife a little bit.
Just a little.
I still got to play that mid game,
Oh, damn. Your man is in it. No excuses this time. But, bro, it came out at a time where it was just so many games. But thankfully, I was able to get that one done. But look, if you end Infinite Wealth without spoiling, there's clearly a direction that they could potentially go, but there's also question marks. And I am curious. I am legit curious on if it's indeed a sequel, to in the Like a Dragon series, what the path will be, because man, it has some definitive consequences afterwards. So yeah, I'm excited. Like, they're teasing. They said it's going to surprise. I wonder if they I guess my curiosity is if they actually go left field, complete left field. What does that mean in that universe? Because obviously I absolutely love these games. Infinite Wealth is highly rated, one of my favorite games this year. And I'm curious to see especially how the way that game ended. What the hell is next?
So you think What do you think they're going to change like the genre up? Do you think like they're going to do a major shakeup? Because they said surprise fans. I'm like, you can always count on a new Yakuza game like every year, pretty much at this point. Like, so what do you like? What is that surprise factor? Is it the
Yeah. My
combat? Is it the
yeah.
exploration, the mini games? Like, what surprises in a new Yakuza game? Because what was surprising about the newest one was like, oh, completely new setting. Like, we're in Hawaii. Like, okay, so without spoiling, like, what do you think about what they could be doing to really truly genuinely surprise? Because it's just not a common word. Like last we talked about a rumor with like Yakuza was like, oh, the next game isn't Kiwami 3. It's like, okay, so it's gotta probably be like next mainline or kind of spin-off title. So what do you think the surprise is? Because I think of Ishin, it's like that's kind of surprising. It's like this
Right.
very like distant feudal Japan style Yakuza game. So I'm rambling a lot, but what do you think on that kind of surprise factor, what it could be?
If I had to guess, the surprise will not be in the genre because I do feel that again, if it's a mainline like a Dragon game, I think they stay with turn based. I think they really up the level, and I thought they got a lot of people into that style of now Yakuza, which is the superior style, into the game, and I think they stay that format if it's a mainline. My guess would be they are going to make a very bold narrative shift. And I think that may change it. You know what I'm saying? Not similar to just, okay, we're just going to another environment. Mm-hmm. I think there will be a narrative focus if they're doing a direct sequel, or they may, if they don't do a direct sequel, kind of give us some other like a dragon, but like not like a Ishin, but somewhere else involving other people and so on and so forth. So that's my guess right now. I am very curious because I was thinking this ending this game. I was like, yo, where do they go with this now? That's my question. So I'm dying to know what this surprise is. This is on everyone's mind right now.
Interesting. Well, hopefully it doesn't involve a certain character, and that will be the best surprise of it all, right? And it's a game without Ichiban. It's like, what? Oh my God, I'm there. Oh my God, I'm
there. We're not doing that. But let's see what happens.
All right. Last bit of news here. We'll talk about what games they're playing. Bleach Rebirth of Souls was announced at Anime Expo by Bandai Namco. It's a 3D fighting game that will follow the original story from the anime. It looks pretty good. As someone who checks out all these anime games, I've not watched Bleach, so I know that's a blemish on my weeb record. I know it's a popular one. It's one I definitely got to get done one of these times, but yeah, the game looks fantastic, and I will definitely be looking forward to checking it out. Cog, I imagine this isn't your speed, but out of politeness, I'll just check. Is there anything you have to say about another 3D anime fighter game?
I gotta chat on my bro Addict again. Like, I feel his pain right now. He's like, he loves this series. He's Bleach. And he's like, bruh, another fighting game? Can we get something? Now, something I thought got announced recently in the anime community that was big, but it's big turn-based, and he's popping bottles about that. So I got to hit you up about that.
There was One Piece Odyssey was turn-based. That was cool. Oh, a new Fairy Tail game. That's what it was. The other, they did a Fairy Tail game that was turn-based. I was like, why Fairy Tail? And then they did a second Fairy Tail game now. That's what it was. Yeah, I don't get it really. I like, as someone who's grew up playing a shit ton of anime games, dude, I can confidently say there were so many different genres. There was a One Piece party game. Like, it was a Mario party game. Like, they did everything. But now they're all 3D arena fighters, all of them. Like, it's disgustingly risk averse. Like I get it to a degree. Oh, hey, we're this new anime on the block, like a Demon Slayer. Like, yeah, you have mainstream popularity, but like, what's your game popularity like? Okay, maybe 3D fighter, especially because your show's a lot of one-on-ones. Okay, I think turn-based would have fit really well for that universe, but okay, I get it. But like Naruto, One Piece, Dragon Ball, like, why aren't you guys doing everything? Like, you are the trendsetters, but they're the most safe. Like, One Piece was the only one to just break out and do like, hey, we're going to do big turn-based game. And that game is awesome. I never finished it because I couldn't story-wise, but that game is awesome, dude. So there's a lot of room to explore these games, or this genre, I should say. And these games just aren't doing it. Like, Bleach is great from what I've heard, but the story's been done for a while, to my knowledge. Like, who is looking to re-experience that again in another fighting game. That's like Ultimate Ninja Storm just did that last year. Like, here's a compilation of all of these Naruto moments. It's like, we've played, there's like fucking 5 Ultimate Ninja Storm games at this point. Like, we don't need to see this whole story for the millionth time. Give us something new. Like, I think of there's Naruto Path of a Ninja on DS. Like, that's a turn-based game. Attack of the Saiyans is like a complete spin-off story, turn-based game. Like, there are so many spin-off opportunities with different genres that could be explored. Quite frankly, I haven't played it. The game kind of looks ass, but at least the Spy X Family game is different. Like, it's more of a Pokemon Snap style game. I'm like, this has nothing to really do with the show, but okay, you're different. Like, you're not a fighting game. And that's where the anime fan base is at. Like, now if you're not a fighter, it's like, oh, okay. There's a Hunter x Hunter game. That's a really popular anime. And it's a 2D fighter. People are like, oh, great, perfect. Like, we're in. Why? Because it's different. So anime games have fucking layups set up for them right now. If you do anything mildly different, people are won over.
I agree. And that's what I was just hoping for, because I felt this pain on that. It was just like, man, another fighting game.
It's just not as exciting. It's like you've seen it a million times.
Yep.
Bandai was like the best and worst thing to happen to anime games. Like, there's a guaranteed presentational quality from them, but they just don't fucking shake it up. And it's like they got the whole shonen IP just in a stranglehold.
Yes.
It's bad, dude. It's like, it's sports games bad. It's sports games bad. Like, they remember all these devs were having, when they got their hands on Naruto, that was the worst thing that ever fucking happened. Because originally it was like Clash of Ninja on Nintendo. It's like a 3D fighter with some depth, really awesome series. Then Xbox had Ubisoft making like Rise of a Ninja, Broken Bond, these Naruto RPGs. Kind of janky, but like really charming. And they had to use like the analog sticks for like jutsu hand symbols. It's like, this is really different. And then PlayStation had Ultimate Ninja Storm. The second Bandai got that contract inked, it was only Ultimate Ninja Storm. So Tomy wasn't making games anymore. Ubisoft wasn't making games anymore. It was just Bandai. And it all turned into the Ultimate Ninja Storm factory. And a lot of people at the time were like, all right, sick, Ultimate Ninja Storm is great. But little did we know what it would all turn into. It's one of the worst things that happened to anime games is Bandai, frankly. So
like they have a exclusive license?
In some ways, yes. Like Naruto, like unless like Bandai has the say-so, for example, to my understanding. You know, and that's that. It sucks, dude, because again, there were tons of Naruto series ongoing in like the 360 generation, and they just all died with that contract. So definitely disappointing. All right, that's all the news for now. Let's talk about what games we are playing. Cog, I see you've been busy with maybe a demo again. I'm interested in this. What's going on?
I don't normally do this. Usually when there's a game I'm interested in and there's a demo, I play my fill and I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
Path of the Goddess, man. Path of the Goddess again. And I think what now has me hooked is, remember last week I talked about it and how the gameplay loop and the defilement going through the town. But now it's the boss encounters. I'm not going to say there's a Souls level of difficulty and intricacy with it, but it is exciting. And again, when I told you, you have those segments when you do that, you change the town, you transform it. And then now the goddess moves to the Torii Gate, you open it up. Now it is a separate arena where the big bad, you have to get your souls on. And you have your soldiers. You could what's cool is you could change roles on the fly. And what I learned now is, remember last week I talked about the woodcutter and the importance of, they're good with the smaller enemies trying to get to the goddess. But the aesthetic, I think it's called now, which is like, I call them like these little you transform them into these like talisman sorcerer style enemies. I mean, fighters for you as far as the townspeople. The importance of them slowing an enemy and almost like a flash freezing is so important. And it is tense because this board, some one-hitter quitters. Now you do have the ability to spawn back as the swordsman after about like a certain amount of time. Right. So that part helps you out. But the soldiers and the people that they have no shot, like they will get eradicated and you got to move them around. But where the mechanics took it to the next level for me, Maddie, in these boss fights, remember I told you, right bumper, individually move people around, protect the goddess. She's in the back. This now, right bumper during the boss fights, right trigger, everyone attack. You go, it's like, seize him, and they all rush towards the boss to do the main goal. Or we can say, fall back, the god is an attack. And then you press left trigger and they all go and they get in a defense circle around her. And it's a tension. We must save the queen. Like it is so fun. And I'm like, yo, the boss fights is kind of fun too. So what I was doing, I was replaying it because I was like, damn, I could make this more efficient. I can be better. I can get into positions and do things more efficiently. And then what I realized is, remember I told you about the real-time combat, the combos, it's a very dance-like swordsman style mechanic. Left analog in is this most beautiful weave. If you time it, it's giving me my Dark Souls thing. Like, one hit quit a boss. Nope. Weaved you, baby. Haha, now you're gonna get this combo. Now we're gonna press right trigger. We're gonna keep working you. And then we back up. It's a push, it's a dance. I ain't gonna front. I'm getting into it, man. I'm still playing the goddamn demo. I was like, all right, I gotta stop. Because now the addiction of come on, I need the rest of the different folk types there's way more, right? Yeah. And then there's more blessings and abilities she can give you and stuff like that. And you really feel like you saved this woman. You really saved like the guys. Like it's just a rewarding thing. It scratches an itch. So Path of the Goddess is still going on. Salute to that. I cannot wait. I believe one more week. Yeah. I just now, all right, that's enough, Kyle. You are doing too much. You love this game. You like it. Let's wait for the final thing and then we'll reserve judgment. But I want to talk, obviously, Destiny, of course, but I want to talk Destiny because they're doing something, like I said, Final Shape's over, killed the witness, transitioning into what happened, but something controversial happened in the community. The love affair quickly ended because when Destiny goes into the quote-unquote seasonal model, it's tune into next week, and then they let you do a set amount of tasks and activities on the new storyline, and then it's tuned into the next week. Now, mind you, the storyline is very cool. However, the community went crazy. Bungie, this is BS. Why are you time gating me? You're purposely doing this to stretch the content. You said the episodic model is so different from the seasonal model, but this is the same crap of tune in next week and 2 weeks, the Destiny community turned quick.
Oh boy. So
they had a stream yesterday. Get this, Maddie.
Cade 6 is coming back again.
Galahorn is back, y'all. No, I'm just joking. No, they didn't go for the break glass emergency, get the community back. But
yeah, right.
They didn't do that. But this is what they did. And I think this is one of the coolest things they did. Usually when the seasonal content is out, Maddie, you got to wait 2-3 months before they even think about changing anything in the feedback. They said, based on the feedback, Act 2 of the episode, all of the content will be released. We are no longer time gaining as an experiment to you. If you want to binge all of it, knock yourself out and be caught up all the way with the story. Or if you want to take week to week and play at your own pace, I've never seen Bungie do this with this model. So everybody was like,
a little bit risky as a live service game.
That's what I was saying. I thought there's a part of me that, yes, I understood the frustration from the community, but I'm like, all right, they try to keep the engagement. So part of me, Corporate Card kind of understood why they was doing it, but this is kind of risky. They're like, nah, we hear you and we are adapting on the fly starting now. I mean, next week, this is what it is. So the community is like, okay, so we'll see. There's a lot of other cool things they're adding and obviously fixing the game on other levels. I'm not going to bore everyone with, but that was the main thing. So I'm curious to see how this experiment goes. I've never seen this in live service. And I wonder if First Descendant have anything to do with that. Because I know First Descendant is out, maybe getting some, well, not the most positive reviews, but people.
Sucks, dude. I'm sorry.
Oh, damn. It's like that. Can you give me some bars for it? I haven't played it.
So I like recorded a video on it already because I played it for like 5 hours or something like that. I was like, bro, this game is okay. I want to just clarify before I go forward. Like, this game represents everything I don't like about games, and I was much nicer in my review than I'll be on this show because
let's go.
I have the opportunity to kind of think things through, sit on my little script, but like a little more unfiltered here, if you will. So my problem with the game is like I don't think there's a single original idea in it at all, and like I take
They
great
got
issue
caught
with that.
in
Like,
4K. You saw about the court in 4K with the.
oh, what happened?
Oh, UAC, they got caught Destiny homework with the iconography. One for, I'm essentially keep talking.
Oh,
I'm essentially
well,
link.
yeah, because
They got
well, what
caught
I
in
was gonna
4K.
say
Yeah.
is it's really people are like, well, it's a hybrid between Warframe and Destiny 2, and that's okay. I'm like, no, well, it's okay, they can do that, but there's like not like from its visuals to like even the layout and dialogue with the characters like right centered and the text on the left, like that's Destiny 2 coded. They have their own version of the tower. That's Destiny 2 coded. The movement is like a shittier Warframe. Like it's dude, I'm sorry, but it's like the movement and locomotion does not have that same feel that Warframe has, and Warframe completely fucking nailed that. Like it's not even close. Where this game is just like a cheap imitation of everything that surrounds it, and they only like to me, it's so obvious they're hoping you enjoy it just enough to give them money. But there is no like if you told me this game had creative inspiration somewhere, I would laugh at you because it's just not there. This was not a game made from the heart that people were like, yeah, man, like I want to make the first Descendant. And you look at that game, I'm like, there are people who can identify like, oh, that's Unreal Engine. I'm like, that should never happen. Like you look at Octopath Traveler, for example, it's like you can't tell like, oh, that's an Unreal Engine game. Maybe if you like, you're very familiar with its color grading and its terrain tools. Like there are things that are giveaways for the engines compared to others. Just as like a loose example there. But when you look at a game, and I can tell it's Unreal Engine because like, oh, the metallic sheen on the surfaces. Oh, the similar content building structure that every Unreal game has been doing lately, which is like floating metallic blocks in a vast stretch of nothingness except the skybox, and then a mountainous region with really Anthem-like sci-fi buildings. Like this game lately came in while I was playing it was like, hey, what are you playing? I feel like I've seen this before. I'm like, it's a new game. Like that's the thing. It looks like every fucking game you've played before. You have seen First Descendant a million times. It's so annoying, dude. It's just the fact that it caught any level of attention blows my mind. Dude, the last trailer that dropped before the game even released had zero gameplay in it. And people were like gassing this thing up. Come on now.
Man, he's not a fan. Look, I mean, I'll finish up because I'm almost done. I mean, it was just one of those things. I was curious that because I do know, in fairness to the game, first to say that, I do know some people like, yo, I'm really enjoying it. Hey, we got to keep in mind that, Destiny, when they started at the beginning,
bad excuse. I'm a guy, interrupt you one more time.
Let's go.
Bad excuse. You know why? Because content's not the problem. It's got content. It's just not good. Like, that's it, bro. Destiny, you could at least pick up in its vanilla version. I know people will laugh at this, but like, you could at least pick up Destiny, its vanilla version, and be like, okay, like, there's a game here. There's a game here. Like, you got the Crucible. Right. You got the whole story mode. Like, it was a game. This is like a grind fest that's just like plays terribly. Sorry, continue.
No, you're good. That's what you seem to align with. Shout out to the homie Ty Guy Travis. I just saw his review, and
what did he score?
5.
Yeah,
I was like,
that sounds right.
He went.
I love me a good Ty Guy Travis review. That's my favorite animal, bro.
Yeah, he basically was like, look, he literally said everything you said. He said this thing. He said I tested it without trying to spend money. How long it would take to grind, whatever. And he was beyond frustrated, and he was just like, this is not it. He said there's some remnants of potential here, but kind of the same thing. But anyway, where I was getting at this is what I wasn't going to come at First Descendant, but where I was getting is I thought maybe First Descendant was getting numbers, and this is Destiny's reaction to, hey, we ain't messing this up, bro. Yo, whatever y'all want this now? Effective now.
They did have a player count of some kind. I think it'll be dead in like a month, but it's possible. It doesn't just give me that vibe that like this is going to be something people stick with. There's just not enough there. The classes are cool, but like the monetization, like the prices for this shit is so insane, and the grind for it's even more insane. So yeah, bro. If I'm Bungie, I'm sitting cozy knowing there's not another competitor, but maybe a preventative measure or just a kill shot, one or the other.
Let's see what happens. That's pretty much all I got. I just wanted to give you the update in the community. I thought it was funny, and I'm curious what you got going on.
Oh, I got my appetizers, dinners, and just desserts here, man. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, done. Finished it, 20 hours. I was very proud of myself. I love this game, dude. I'm very upset that it took me so long to come around to it, but that's part of what was so satisfying about the playthrough is I was like, I finally get it. And I don't know, outside of just like, this is some of the most phenomenal boss design in a game, that's what really clicked to me. I was like, this is excellent. Some of my old complaints still ring true. Like, I don't like when I die and I have to repeat mob enemy stealth sections, I'm like, this doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel good. Everything else about the game feels incredible, though. My friend helped me get the true ending, so I did see the secret boss, for those who are wondering, beat him in under 10 tries. Like, I was fucking cooking with this game. And honestly, it really solidified, I will just say, my final boss critiques of Shadow of the Erdtree, in that I think FromSoft lost their way a little bit with that boss. And in some
Ooh.
parts of that DLC with challenge and balancing, because Sekiro is like, I think the reason I didn't have that much of a problem with Sekiro, no boss took me more than 18 tries, which was the final boss in the game. Otherwise, everything was below 10. And I was like, why is that? I'm like, Sekiro's fair. Sekiro's not bullshit ever. And anytime I died, I was like, that was my fault. I would yell at the game as a joke, but I would never actually get pissed at this game. Like, this was perfectly balanced. I hate Demon of Hatred. Beat him. Piece of shit boss. Bloodborne boss in the Sekiro game. What's going on here? But that one also gave me a little bit of trouble. But otherwise, like, just top to bottom, what an amazing game. And this is the future, I think. Like, this, if FromSoft, I feel like the capacity has been reached for what we can do with a Dark Souls-like experience. And I think Bloodborne was the next evolution of movement and aggression. And I think you keep that. But I think Sekiro's deflecting is downright perfect. And this needs to be the future. Like, you need to start bringing that in as an element. I know that Miyazaki has talked a bit about like his magnum opus. He's not quite there yet after Elden Ring. Elden Ring's still phenomenal, but like, I think his magnum opus is getting the scale and the scope of Elden Ring with like the satisfaction and the balance of Sekiro, which is a titanic task. I don't know. I'll be impressed if they can pull it off. But this game, part of what's so great about Sekiro is its pace. Like, I love that this game is shorter. I didn't go in expecting it shorter. Like, FromSoft games are guaranteed like 50 hours in my experience. So to be done with this in 20, I was like, okay, cool. And like, it's much shorter if you run through it again in New Game Plus, because you're way better at the game. Everyone dies quickly. You know, you have maxed out attack power if you've gotten all the memories. And I did some of the Gauntlet of Strength, so you can repeat like boss fights, and they actually have new versions of particular bosses in the game with the Game of the Year edition re-release. And so, yeah, man, like, this is third time's the charm. Really enjoyed me some Sekiro. So if I were to do my personal ranking, Sekiro's at number 2. I still think Bloodborne's my favorite because I just love the world of Bloodborne. I'm very captivated by Bloodborne. I think the gameplay for Sekiro is absolutely the king in FromSoft's library, but I love Bloodborne's world space and characters so much. And that's without even beating Old Hunters yet.
Wow.
So
that's highly revered.
The game's amazing. They need, I know I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said before, but they need to get on a re-release for that game. It deserves it. I've been playing Trails Through Daybreak 2. While everyone's playing a little bit of the Trails Through Daybreak 1, I have done it again. I found out there was another community patch for English with Trails Through Daybreak 2, and I have this opportunity before me to be caught up entirely on the Trails franchise with Kai no Kaseki Farewell O Zamuria on the horizon in Japan this September. I was like, you know what? I could actually enjoy a marketing cycle for Trails for once. Like, I've never had the chance to do that. I said, you know what? Fuck it. Like, let's do it. So I fired up a playthrough. I got the prologue done. I'm in the interlude right now, y'all. Obviously, I will watch what I say because I understand I have a right in here about Trails. I'll get to in a second. But a lot of people are looking to get into this. All I will say is this shit is so good. Like, I thought Trails Through Daybreak was amazing, right? It's my favorite Trails game yet. But if this keeps up, dude, there is a moment at the end of this prologue that is fucking insane. And it just, every time I play these games from this company, I'm like, this is how it's done. This is how it's done. And I'll just continue to echo that. But I will stay light on really any elements from this game. I'm not really going to talk about it weekly just because I don't want to be unfair to those who are indulging and playing Trails and trying to catch up. I will just say that you are in for a fucking treat. And the gameplay designers cooked. Like, they got some awesome shit here. So I'll leave it at that. We did have a write-in from Casper von Ginhoven, who writes, "Hey, Pyre Dukes. If I say that right or wrong, you let me know. Last week, Maddie answered the age-old question about what Trails games to start with. Trails from Zero came up as a contender as always. However, I seem to remember some complaining coming from Maddie about the overly indulgent writing present in its sequel, Azure. So, do you also recommend continuing with Azure afterwards? To quote Cog, salute to you, Dukes." Um, yeah, if you start at 0, just go all the way. Like Sky will always be there. I always say to people, start with Sky. I've gone through that a million times. But yeah, if you start 0, just go through the order, like Azure, Cold Steel 1, 2, 3, 4, Reverie, Daybreak. Like just go for it. Azure isn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. For many people, it's like their favorite in the series. I think it's where some of the problems that happen with the franchise, whether it's fan servicey or overindulgent writing, do crop up. And I think a lot of people ignore that. But that is their decision. For me, Azure is a great Trails game, but it's not my favorite. And I do think there are entries later that redeem some elements from that game. But it is very much an important Trails game, is what I will say. Azure is absolutely, like, story-wise, it plays a massive part in all of the later entries. So yeah, definitely play that. That is how it would go. For those who are wondering, again, Sky 1, 2, 3, 0 Azure, Cold Steel 1, 2, 3, 4, Reverie, Daybreak 1, Daybreak 2. So keep an eye out for all those. Start where you please. If you're going to think of any starting points, again, Sky 1, 0, or Cold Steel 1. Pick your poison. I would say I started with Cold Steel 1, did Cold Steel 1, 2, went back, did Sky 1, 2, 3, 0 Azure, and then Cold Steel 3, 4. So you can leap around how you'd like. I don't think it's the wrong thing to do, but 0 is my favorite. So my second favorite. So if you want to start anywhere that's available on more modern consoles, start with 0 and then play Azure. Now, with that Trails conversation done with, last game I'm playing this week, Cog. Disney Infinity 3.0. We were talking about playground games last week, and I was like, hey, let me break out one of my own. So I was talking to a buddy last night, last week, sorry. And I was going through my Steam Deck. I was like, hey, what do you know about Disney Infinity? Because what happened was this. I saw Inside Out 2. And I defined Inside Out 2. Like, if anyone needs to know my one sentence review for it, it's that was such an important movie. That's what I said to Laylee when we were walking out there. I was like, that was such an important movie. Like, I feel all generations, even Creepy Cog at the park, needs to see this movie. It's super important. Like, the messaging is so fucking powerful in Inside Out 2. And I thought Inside Out 1 was great. And I was thinking, well, damn, man, I want to play an Inside Out game. Like, I bet they got like a cheap little 3D platformer on the 3DS. I look it up. They have Inside Out Thought Bubble. It's like a phone game. I'm like, fuck that, dude. No. I find out Disney Infinity, they're there in 3.0. I'm like, so I message a friend because he's like a Disney freak. I'm like, hey, what do you know about Disney Infinity 3.0? Like, I've had it on Steam. Is this something I can like fire up? Do I need the toys? He's like, oh, so the gold edition on Steam, you don't need the toys at all. Like, you don't need the platforms, the inserts. Like, it's just game. That's it. Like, really? And I said, I'm looking for Inside Out. It's like a campaign. He's like, oh, it's on 3.0. I'm like, oh. So I fired it up on the Steam Deck, and I haven't even done the Inside Out portion yet. Like, this game is from Avalanche, who did, for those who are Last Stand faithful, Toy Story 3. This is where all that extra Toy Story 3 energy went. So now it's a big toy box full of all these Disney characters.
I'm looking at it now. Yep, I'm looking at it now.
Oh, man, they are cooking with some grease here. Damn, man, it is some good shit. I really enjoy this game, unironically. I am really disappointed I missed out on it. I also kind of miss Toys to Life in general. Like, I think it was a genre that should have stayed limited, like Skylanders, Disney Infinity, and Lego Dimensions. Like, those are the ones that fit. The other ones, like Ubisoft coming in with that ship game and shit. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, that's what...
I liked it that one.
No, I know. I'm saying, like,
but it was a little like, extra with how they...
And people are like, I don't want this anymore. And I remember Bobby Kotick was pissed. He's like, all those imitators came in and ruined something special with Skylanders. Remember he was talking about that in a lot of headlines?
Talking real slick. I remember that, yes.
He was tight that people came in and killed something that he thought was a great original idea. And I think Toys to Life really dates back to even something like Guitar Hero, like just having that physical object that connects to the game that's not a controller. So anyway, I fired up. They do have like a whole tutorial that introduces you to all these different characters and all these different worlds. Then you get the toy box itself. So you have all these characters running around in it. You can create your own inn, and like there are so many options. It gets deep. Like, there's logic and programming things you can do. Like, I don't know how this is a kid's game in that reality. There's challenges you can do. So I'm like, all right. So I run around in that for an hour, and I messaged my friend. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna ask a stupid question, but like, how do I do the campaigns? Because like each has a play set, is what they call it, where it comes with a set of characters and like a new story mode. And this one had a bunch of Disney Infinity 3.0 was like Inside Out and a bunch of Star Wars and Marvel stuff. I was like, how do you how do you get involved with the new playset stuff? He's like, oh, go to the main menu, hit a new game, and then it'll be in there. And so I saw they had Star Wars there. They had like all these eras. They had like original trilogy. They had the sequel trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
They had a prequel trilogy. I'm like, oh, I was like, oh, hold up. So I checked that out. And dude, they got the original voice actors from like the Clone Wars show there for this kind of mini story. And I'm like, okay, so I'm playing it through. And it turns out that, I mean, this is way bigger than I thought it was. So I finished up this opening mission on Geonosis, and then they're like, okay, you go to Coruscant now. And I see like, they open up a space map, and I'm like, okay, look, I can see all these planets. I can fly around in outer space. And so I go to Coruscant, and there's like side quests everywhere. There's characters I can talk with and interact with. Some of these side quests are so bottom of the barrel filler crap, but like they're all just fun, charming, kind of mindless fun. It's like a perfect Steam Deck game for me though, but it's also like really oddly comforting. I'm like, this is so nice. Like this is such a kind of cool game. It feels like I'm playing a game that would have been a live service game in any other era, but before live service really took over, this is what we got. And so I really enjoy it for what it is. It's not like a perfect game by any means, but I've been enjoying it. I've like fully committed. I'm like, let me see how far the rabbit hole goes, because this is where, again, like it's Marvel Star Wars type stuff. But before that, like Disney Infinity 1.0 was all Pixar and Disney, like Pirates of the Caribbean, Monsters Inc., that sort of stuff. So I'm like, okay, I want to get through some of the Star Wars stuff, check out what we're doing with Inside Out, because I love Inside Out, and go from there, play around. I don't know anything about Disney Infinity 2.0, but yeah, I hopped into this one on a whim. I've been just spending a lot on this Steam sale because there's a lot of great shit I picked up, and Sekiro was one of them. And I was like, all right, Disney Infinity, you're mine with all the other versions, and I've really been having some fun with it. So yeah, shout out to a game lost to time, but is definitely really good.
Yeah, I'm checking it out. They look like they got all the different eras of Star Wars. I forgot that new Jedi that I remember seeing her from The Mandalorian, and she's got the double lightsaber thing. She's getting into I'm looking, all right. I will say they are utilizing the properties very coolly. I can see right now, and I can see Maddie going crazy. I could totally see it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've just been unapologetically like playing it. It's just been the game I play when I'm not on trails, and it's good to have a good Steam Deck game. Like this thing runs at 60 frames on Steam Deck with the OLED, runs smooth. I get like 4 hours of battery life out of it, so it's like perfect for the Steam Deck. Like I've really been enjoying it with that. So like I've just hooked up my charger next to my bed, and so I just have it there. It's sort of my wind down game. Really good stuff. All right, Cog, we got 3 more warm-up questions. Let's rapid fire them. Not spend too long on any particular one, and then we'll get into the rest of the news. First one goes to Meatball. Greetings, Lord. Peeking through the windows of the local Chuck E. Cheese, Cognito, and Mr. Saved with all my tickets, and all I got was vampire teeth and a whoopee cushion Maddie plays. I'll be turning 33 on Thursday when the show drops. So interested to hear how you guys celebrate your birthdays each year. Do you prefer a more low-key dinner with friends and family? Or are you out living it up at the club life like friend of the show, Gene Park? Do you have a favorite birthday memory from over the years? As for me, I'm keeping it low-key this year with dinner and a baseball game with my wife and family. Shout out to Meatball, very active patron over on Retro Revive as well, so we appreciate your participation on all levels, Meatball. But Cog, how do you celebrate when it's the big day? It's November 15th, the day of the Xbox. It's time to celebrate. Happy Born Day for Cog. What are we doing?
I'm similar. Shout out to Meatball. I see the name, and I'm similar. Y'all normally I like low key friends, few friends. My thing is like maybe like a nice little restaurant, and just quiet. I don't need the big production all the time. I just want it, like a lot of times I like to try a restaurant or something that I haven't done or something I've been putting off for a while. And then sometimes you fall into those pockets of like your favorite place, right? So you're like, all right, you know what? I can easily go back to, restaurant B or whatever it is, and you do that joint. So I would say, yeah, I'm very simple. Now, as far as his second question, do I have a favorite birthday memory? Yes. That was, I had to do it up. New York rooftop style. Everybody come, trucked up, jewelry. I mean, not jewelry, but suited up. And man, the fact that everyone did that, friends and family and people I haven't seen, childhood friends, people I haven't seen for years, were like, "God, we got you." Pull up. And I still hold that dear. We all got the pictures. It comes up, or it's like Facebook send you those memories and that kind of thing every year. What you were doing
iPhone
on
gets
this.
me all the time. They'll be
Yes.
like, especially with my dogs, they'll be like best friends, and it's like Revan and Duke together. I'm like, oh, that's so
Oh,
cute. Yeah.
yo, it just the group pics. Everybody, man, it was so much fun. So those were some of the best. Yeah. So that was probably my favorite. But what about you?
For me, I like it low key as well. Usually, what Laylee and I have done since we started dating is we just kind of spend the day together. Like we plan out a day for one another, and then just kind of go out and do things, whatever those may be. Like this year, like we went out to eat, we went to an aquarium. Like we just do random things that we otherwise wouldn't do. It's very fun, and so, that was a good time. But yeah, I like a more low key birthday. Like that's how I typically operate. And so I've never been a partier. The only time I can think of when I was really living up, I mean, it was 21st birthday, man.
Me
I
too.
Yeah, man, it's time to drink it up a bit. This
Hell
same
yeah.
day I graduated, or I got had my graduate party for college, bro. I have never done this before. This is a funny story. I have never done this before this moment, and ever since that, I've never done it again. So I was just on one this day, but I drank all day, all fucking day. Like, imagine this, right? Because nowadays with my vestibular migraines, like I can't drink anymore. So I just hold on to this one memory of when I was just a free spirit, just like fucking pouring it down. So I was at my parents' house and I drank a little bit there. And then my two best friends came, picked me up. They're like, we're going to go to our friend's house. And her aunt just became a bartender. So she mixed a ton of drinks. So I had a bunch there. I was like, oh, this is great. Right. And like, it's funny. Like, nothing's hitting me this whole time. Then we go to a bar that night. I'm like, oh, yeah, fuck it. So I have like a bunch more to drink. At that point, I'm starting to feel it, but it wasn't until we went to Buffalo Wild Wings afterwards that I get a tall boy and I throw that down. And I'll always remember, dude, because we got there when they were closing.
Uh-huh.
And after I had that tall one, I turn around to go. I'm like, yeah, I got to go to the bathroom real quick. Because I knew I was about to puke. So I turn around. I'm getting ready to go to the bathroom. And dude, I don't know how I did it. It's a sea of tables with chairs on top of them. And I'm just looking at it like, oh, fuck. I was like, one misstep and I'm going to ruin this place. Not just on the floor, but like, I'm going to knock everything over. I managed to make it there, throw up, go home, fall asleep. But dude, like, I've never done that where I was just making a tour on my birthday and just everyone was treating me to free drinks. It was fucking insane, dude. But that's like the most I've lived it up on my birthday, frankly. Otherwise, like, I prefer it more low key and quiet because I need people like Laylee to get me out doing things because I'm way too reflective on my birthday. Like I'm always super reflective on my birthday. Like I'm never really happy on my birthday until she pulls me out of it. Yeah, I don't like when you're a kid, you love your birthday. And it's not like I get mad like I'm old, but it's funny. Like I can be very transparent about I don't know if it's I don't want the attention for it or I don't really want to
You're like King. You and King are the same.
I don't know how to describe it. Like it's like you got to force it on me. And it's not, I think part of me needs it. And I know that.
Yep. Him and you are very similar. Yeah. And when we finally did it, he was just like, nah, I didn't need that. It was cool.
Yeah.
But
like I've never
otherwise he would not have done anything. Like
I would just sit home, chill and be like, it's another day. But you need those people around you if you're that type of personality to be like, hey, like we're going to go out. Like we're going to do this. Cause like Laylee's rule is like, we're not staying home. Like you got to come out, Matt. I was like, all right, fine. So yeah, thank you for writing in, Meatball. That's how we're celebrating our birthdays. This one was a fun one because I mentioned I was on a Lego game kick. Kaz didn't risk, right? Hey, Dukes. So we're getting Lego Horizon Adventures from PlayStation/Sony, and it has me wondering if you could pick one Xbox franchise to get the Lego treatment, which franchise would you pick? Lego Halo Combat Evolved sounds very exciting. Take care and have a giving the Covenant back their brick kind of day. That's a fucking amazing line. Love that shit. All right, Cog. You get to Lego-ify a single Xbox franchise. What are you picking?
He stole it. It's Halo. Like it's
Halo,
perfect.
Right?
Yeah, it's gotta be. You got so many characters, Master Chief, all the teams. I would think like little Atriox would be kind of funny. little red Bucks' Atriox. Look, you got that. You got the Arbiter. You got so many things to play with. So yeah, I would definitely say just the fun of seeing Covenant ships and the U.S. Marines stuff and like it fits. I think it would be a really fun and a good fun biome to see different biomes with rings and stuff like that in that kind of cutesy miniature-y kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yes, I understand. Not a card game, but it would be fun, and I could see the appeal.
Yeah, I'm gonna cheat and say Fallout. Lego Fallout would be kind of
Ooh.
fun. Someone did a fan project called Lego Fallout, and I tried it out. I was like, you know what? Like I said, I wasn't really with this idea, but like running around seeing the characters look this way in Fall. I mean, Lego can do literally anything and it'll work. But to see it and feel it out, I was like, yeah, I actually kind of want this. Like this would be really cool to see if they had like a bunch of little open world locations. Like Lego Fallout would be sick. But Halo is what came to mind because I think of like 343 Guilty Spark is like a dedicated level, just like going through, like building a bridge or like building your way through the library to like get a shortcut, like playing on like the pace of that level as sort of a joke to longtime fans. Like I think that stuff would be awesome. So yeah, I'm with you on Halo. Lego Gears would also work because Gears has just had more spin-offs and ideas, I think, thrown at it than maybe Halo. I guess you have Halo Wars, so there is that as a little bit of a spin-off, but I'd like to see Lego Gears. I mean, Lego anything from Xbox would be sick. I think they should look into that if they can. That's another way. We talked about like kid-friendly games. That's another way they can get involved.
That's a fantastic point. I agree.
Last question from Anton K, and then we get into the news. Hey, DDs, do you think Metaphor ReFantazio will get an enhanced edition like Persona 5 Royal or Persona 4 Gold? And the reason I ask is I don't know if I want to play the base game if there's a much improved final edition of the game. I'd rather wait. Am I crazy? Having Metaphor looks amazing, but Atlas got me wondering if a better version is coming kind of day. Anton, abso-fucking-lutely. Absolutely, this is happening, right, Cog?
You know how Atlas does. Come on, we know who we dealing with. There's no doubt in my mind. Based on track record, you're going to get some later version of it. But this game looks too cool to miss out on, in my opinion. So, I ain't waiting. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting in on that one. This for sure.
Absolutely. All right, Cog. With that, we move on to the news. Game Pass is seeing a lot of changes here. This was reported by Jez Corden of Windows Central Gaming. We have the bullet point breakdown here on his article. Let's start off at the top. Soon, Xbox Game Pass for console will be shuttered for new users only. Users currently on Xbox Game Pass for console will be allowed to maintain their subscription as well as day one games and the hundreds of titles in the back catalog. New users on Xbox Game Pass in the near future will be greeted by a Game Pass standard. This is more like EA Access, which includes Xbox's back catalog and doesn't include day one games. This will be priced at $14.99 per month for US dollar or your regional equivalent, and will also include Xbox Live Gold for multiplayer, now known as Game Pass Core. It does not include Xbox Cloud Gaming. Xbox Game Pass Standard is supposedly launching in September. From September 12th, 2024, Microsoft will only allow existing users to stack Xbox Game Pass for console for up to 13 months, using prepaid cards and the like, which will continue to function in perpetuity. If you have more than 13 months stacked already, you won't be impacted. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate will not be changed, but it will get a price increase. It will still include PC Game Pass, day one games, and hundreds of back catalog titles, as well as cloud gaming, but it is getting a price increase. The new price will be $19.99 per month. Right now, you can stack 3-month prepaid cards with this is a whole promotion for Windows Central Gaming. Skip, sorry, Jez.
Skip.
PC Game Pass is also getting a price increase from $9.99 per month to $11.99 per month. PC Game Pass will continue to get day one games. Xbox Game Pass Core, Xbox Live Gold's multiplayer will get an annual price increase to $74.99 from $59.99 per year, but it's going to remain at $10 per month. And the price increases are global. And again, you can find that on Windows Central or Xbox's support page if you want to see where you live. We'll be speaking from the United States point of view. And lastly, for users with recurring billing, the new prices will take effect on September 12th, 2024, giving you time to cancel if you don't like what Xbox is doing here. So, Cog, to my surprise, given how Xbox's news has gone this year and the reception of it, I wasn't melting down when I saw this, and I was surprised to see the internet kind of respond in the same way. Not like a major breakdown across the board, which in a year where Xbox continues to find itself in the negative part of the news cycle, was a little caught off guard by that. So with this, Cog, what do you make of these changes? What stands out to you most? PC Game Pass standing pat because the growth is there, but is the growth phase over? Is this now time to cash in? Is this the Call of Duty effect like we've talked about extensively here? Is this a sort of preventative measure? Like, hey, we don't know if we're going to get new subs, so we might as well get as much as we can out of this. Why is the console tier losing Game Pass day one? Is this a sign it wasn't working? What have you learned from this news here?
This is great. Great questions. Remember when we talked about the business update and the announcements of 4 games potentially going over to competing platforms? At that point, I'm like, this is a deviation from the strategy. And in my opinion, I was bracing for impact of the idea of day one Game Pass completely going away. That was what I was bracing. I was like, look, they may have tallied the numbers. They have not hit their internal targets. We expected a shift. We expected a plethora of games. To my surprise, to see them double down at that meeting and say, what it means to be Xbox is you get first-party games, day and date. We're not getting rid of that. Was a surprise to me. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest. So how I look at this news is we got to give the realm of the Dukes, we got to give ourselves a little pat on the back. We predicted that there will be a price increase, despite all the talk about, oh, we're not going to do it. Mm-hmm. Oh, you know what I'm saying? We knew when that ABK deal happened, oh, you guys, it's like the bouncer in front of the club. Mm-hmm. You guys that, you already got your wristband, you're good. You already signed up. You're good. Yes, you go right to that stage. You'll have a VIP section. You'll still get your day and date. All you new dudes, you're just coming on. Hey, we got a section for you, and this is the value meal section right here. The 2 cheeseburgers and the fries and shake, and we're gonna give you a curated list. Yeah. We're gonna give you a curated list of games you get. But that day and date thing, my guy, no, if you want that main vein Call of Duty, you want that Blackouts, bruh, you gonna have to be over there. I am not justifying it. I just saying that we predicted in a post-ABK world, they would shift. And all jokes aside, how I make sense of it is these are the steps they are taking for partly one, sustainability, right? Mm-hmm. Because you're doing this, let's be honest, to extract value out of the existing people there. And I don't look at this as, trying to, like, you're in this growth phase anymore. You clearly are where you are. It reminds me, remember when PlayStation Plus, they raised the price of, whatever. They stopped reporting the numbers and then they raised the price of the service, right? And a lot of people are like, yo, that's unfair, whatever. But at this point, to me, you have tallied where the console market specifically is. Mm. And you are going to extract value. Now, if anyone wants to come at them and say, fam, y'all lied, cannot say no. There's no rebuttal from Cargo on me. Yeah. There's record of them saying, we ain't going to increase the price. You got 2. You know what I'm saying? They're on record for saying that we're not trying to extract value. This is making people that are existing pay more money, right? Now, in fairness to them, if you look at the services comparatively, $20 for me, again, this is a use case thing. I can only speak for me, is an amazing deal to get day and date games, to get all these third-party games that they have deals with, to get, cloud and all this other stuff. $20 to maintain that as the new price, because let's be clear, they want y'all on Ultimate. Mm-hmm. That's it. Like, this is where they want y'all at. All that other stuff is flirting, it's cool, it's $10, it's great value, no disrespect, but Ultimate is where they want, and it's a thought experiment is also for now that we know that Call of Duty coming. So in order for that new guy to get in and play multiplayer and play online and do the stuff to get that day one Call of Duty, it's probably to your benefit to be an Ultimate. And my last point, and I know this is a point of contention. Shout out to my man Ed. I got to bring him up because he's fighting a good fight on this. But the reality is this: we got to be real. In their mind, they've gotten everything out of the console Xbox gamer. Yeah. If you look at the chart objectively, PC Game Pass $11.90 a month, online multiplayer free. They're getting day and date. They're getting everything minus cloud.
The royal treatment, man.
Oh,
this is the best place to be.
$12, $11.99 a month. You're eating nice. Yeah. So to me, the fact that it's not affecting them is showing me who the target demographic for growth is. They want that guy. Now, I totally empathize with the console guy that's like, yo, bro, we was there from day one. How come we get? I get it. That's what I see here. So look, I got a lot more to say. You know, I won't push back, Maddie, on any evil villain Microsoft mustache twirling talk. All I will say is, for me, and based on your use case, the deal of Ultimate is still a great deal at $20. I am not going to show you. They're giving you data. This is way better than the competition. But I do feel this is partly for sustainability to keep the model. This increase had to go up. And then, two, I am curious to see with the new guy, the guy who is not a part of the Xbox ecosystem. Does this move the needle anyway when Black Ops 6 or any of these games come in? But I am very curious what you have to say because I watched your video. It was a great video, by the way. Yeah, it was an awesome video. I was like, oh, this is good. But yeah, I'm curious. Where are you at now with another day to process all of this?
I don't really feel any type of way about this because I think it's a case-by-case basis. Like, you're going to get people who are like, what? This is stupid. This is overpriced now. I think I put a tweet out about it. It really does come down to how much you use it. For me, I use Game Pass a lot. I use it enough, especially with cloud gaming and EA access. I get my money's worth. Day one, I'm saving money. Like, I get my money's worth the full dollar value for me. I think a big problem is like not having an annual package for a lot of people. Like, I wouldn't do it, but a lot of people want to be able to pay for like a year's worth of Game Pass. Like, it's time to offer some more packages in that regard. But for me, I'm not really losing my mind, but $20 is sort of my limit though. It's like, I don't want to be, you bump this up to 23, 25. That's going to start beckoning like, hey, now you got to pony up too, right? Like, you're not just going to keep, and this is how subscription services go. There will be that point, I imagine, where they're going to ask me to pony up and they're not going to level up their game. Right now, I feel like it's a good trade-off. Like, I don't mean to play this sort of game because it's a corporation. I want to get the best value out of them. But the reality is, like, I've been eating off their plate big time with like $16 a month on Game Pass. Like, I've had it great. And we've talked about this extensively. Like, I was cool with that price tag because I knew I was getting away with robbery. Like, I was getting brand new games for like $15 a month. And like, I was like, this, we talked about it extensively. This isn't sustainable. Since what we saw with the foreclosures at Bethesda, we're like, this just, where Game Pass is just clearly isn't sustainable and they need to change something. And this is that change. Right now, the trade-off is, okay, I'm getting everything I already had as an Ultimate subscriber. And now I'm going to start to see the injection of Activision games. Like, okay, cool. My concern, if you will, is are they going to synchronize big additions to Game Pass with a price increase? So like now, let's say Ubisoft joins, right? Like, we've always heard the rumors of like Ubisoft joining Game Pass and having their whole entire subscription service dumped there. Do we now increase it to $3 more per month? Like, what? Because like we were in that growth phase. So they were like, here's day one Game Pass. Here's PC Game Pass. Here's EA Play. Here's cloud gaming. No price movements, right? So now we're at the point where what I understood is what you said. I think growth is done. Like, okay, console users, your time is up. Your time is up. And a lot of fans are upset about that, which I think is fair, which is like, why are we, the dedicated base, being punished? But that's the thing that I don't think people realize is the key word that a lot of y'all are using is the dedicated base. They know you're going to be there. They're chasing someone else now. PC. And look at their prices. They want them in now, just like they wanted you in. And everyone bought in. But PC's been an uphill climb. Now, I think value proposition will only go so far with PC gamers because they have Steam sales. They have a lot of great options there. Xbox needs to make their PC app a million times better to make it where like, hey,
please.
Yeah, right. Like now people want a game here. Right now, it's just a good value proposition, which only goes so far when your app and some of the SKUs for that app suck. Like it's just not great right now. So the price is low, I think, in a way that represents the product, frankly, but it's definitely also representing like where they're chasing. They're not going to do, they could never dare right now with where PC Game Pass is to go, all right, y'all, 16 a month. Like, get the fuck out of here. They'd lose a ton of subs. So that bump is small there. And now the value proposition works in maybe their favor where some people go, you know what? I'm just going to go game on PC over here. And that subscription base goes up a little bit more. So you can tell where there's now it's been subsected. Console growth is pretty much done. They're like, okay, we're going to get an injection of Call of Duty subscribers. What's that going to look like? It's going to go one of two ways because no doubt they're going to get a bump in subs. How many subs are there? How many stick around though? And that's the thing. That's why I think this is coming now, because you change now, you get Black Ops 6 day one in Game Pass, and you're able to accurately assess the situation. How long are people sticking around for? And this prevents them from maybe losing as much money. Oh, you want day one Game Pass? You either are playing on PC where we need to grow and we want to bite the bullet on that, or you're paying a third of the game price now. Or sorry, that's if it's a $60 game, but that math's now too complicated for me to give you an accurate fraction. Point being, though, is they're at a point where they're trying to collect, and I think it's good it's still here, but I think the removal of a tier, right, in that, oh, you don't get day one Game Pass on the lower tier, it makes a little more sense laying it out this way if it always started this way, where Ultimate signals like this is the best value.
Right.
But the removal of it does suggest they are losing money on this because they would have just kept it otherwise.
I think I agree with you. I think my only slight difference is that I look at it as, remember what the question was with, they got COD now, right? And the talk was, you can't justify putting that on your service for free, quote unquote, while the competitors, you're losing money by not charging sale. We were shocked they doubled down. My only twist to your thinking is I think that this is their way of trying to recoup the Call of Duty dude who's jumping on the platform for the first time. Because let's be honest, you got to get Ultimate, fam. You really got to, if you're a console, you got to get Ultimate. So I think this is their financial way that it makes sense for them to do it. Because
I agree. Yeah.
We all felt like, that's a lot of money you leaving on the table. That's
still $50 cheaper, and that's going to speak to a lot of people. Cheaper.
And to your point, the other question I have, I think you made a great point, is I look at it from a growth perspective as far as the new guy. I'm not the target. I love the service. I feel tremendous value. I'm good, right? I look at it, if they intend to grow it, you got to get the guy who's either on PlayStation and Nintendo, who's looking to flirt, which I feel is very hard because let's be honest, those guys are in their ecosystem already. They are less likely to, in my opinion, buy a new system, just for that, right? You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing. I'm looking at Call of Duty specifically, but for that service. To me, the new guy, the guy who is completely not in your thing, all they may do is buy Call of Duty. I am very curious how this works out from a new user growth perspective. That's what I'm curious about. And it's going to be interesting to tally. I guess, like I said, I personally internalize it as, like you said, the console guys, they have, in their mind, this is the most we're going to get right now. And we have to extract more value out of this group. We still want to entice this new group, and we want to entice new players to the thing. I think it's absolutely hilarious that they are no longer also allowing stacking. The stacking, 13 months, fan, that's it. After 13, ain't going to be no 2-year, 3-year stacking. All the things we predicted when we were in that eating phase and everybody was like, yo, bro, I got 3 years Game Pass. I'm lit. Hey, bro, that's a wrap with in a post-ABK where I think this is how they try to justify the numbers making sense. And we will see. But I'm very curious. My main point of all this was I'm very curious about the new person who does not have, the platform or just interested in getting Call of Duty. How does this move the needle? I'm very curious about that.
Let's get some write-ins involved here, because obviously there's a lot of questions around the value proposition here. Gabagool writes in. Love the name. Hey, Dukes. With the announcement of the price increase of Game Pass and removal of day one games on lower tiers, do you think that Microsoft is slowly starting to incentivize the Xbox audience to just outright purchase games? There's been this narrative that Xbox gamers have been conditioned to not buy games, and this may be true with how valuable Game Pass has been. However, I'm of the mind that it's not an irreversible effect of Game Pass, and that Microsoft is trying to make gamers reconsider whether or not paying $20 a month to rent a game is preferable to just owning it for $70. Thanks, and have a $20 for Game Pass Ultimate is only just the beginning kind of day. Meanwhile, in this same mindset here, we have a console user reaction that I wanted to highlight here. This comes from your boy, Nikki V, opening things up loud and crazy, as always.
As always.
Hey, Obi Come Kenobi Cog and Qui-Gon Jizz Maddie.
savagery. Pure savagery.
Dudes, I'm sure you'll have a ton of write-ins generally addressing the price hikes, but I want to focus on a specific point. Is it not a massive slap in the face to those of us who have invested in Xbox hardware to have to pay more than PC players to access day one releases? I know it's only a few dollars of difference, but isn't this just so far from the mark in terms of consumer relations, basically treating your core audience as second best? The benefit of owning Xbox hardware over PC is basically in the net negative at this point. Have a Matt's booty is ranked, but I still gobble them sweet. I'm not finishing that, bro. I'm not finishing that, dude. You gotta reel it in. I'm not saying that shit out loud.
Nikki V is loose.
I'm not saying that out loud, bro. They're we have recording software. We're not fucking doing this, bro. We're not doing it. Clean it up, damn it. All right, Kai. We got 2 write-ins here. Yeah. We have the user reaction. I'll put that asterisk next to the console user's reaction. But Gabagool wrote in about, is it time to buy video games? Is it time for Xbox fans to start buying their video games? Is Xbox putting this up there saying, like, yo, may as well just spend the $70? What do you think of this, Kai? Because I feel like what they're trying to address here is the 1 month sub, right? Like, what is the lowest we can keep it where if someone shows up and says, I want COD in and out, right? Like what Dustin did for Hellblade 2. I'm in and out. That's it. How can they afford to do that without losing out big time? Since they're likely anticipating tons of people are going to do this for Call of Duty. No doubt about it. Tons, potentially millions. So what do you think, Cog? Is this a Galaxy Brain play by Xbox to get people to buy games?
I don't know if it's to get them people to buy games. I think they want you in the damn service still. That's still part of I feel a major part of the vision. However, they're realistic about their growth. To your point, we use Dustin as the example, right? If they look at the data and there are people jumping in and jumping out for just a month or so on and so forth, then yeah, they have now deduced that if you're going to do this, you're going to be doing it at this highest level for these day and date. They have now made day and date that tier. Whether or not that's fair or ethical, or you feel they are lying because of that, is a fair point to make, and to say, hey, I don't agree with that part because, you know, your marketing prior was day and date, and I thought my tier was going to get me that. And now technically that doesn't apply unless you're at the highest tier. So there's an asterisk there. To the second point, boy, Nikki V is so loose. Look, this is the challenge they have with the console gamer. This is the challenge because they're gonna feel second-class citizen, bro. Like there's no shaking it, right? Now you can corporate cog me and tell me, yo, we've maxed out growth here, potential. And that's all legitimate and fair. You know, I just feel that the loyal base is going to want something. And this is my advice to them. Mm-hmm. What would really help you, I would behoove you to do at this point, is to really either get that Call of Duty ready or whatever you got planned in August that the rumors and Tom Henderson, because I'm reporting what they saying, stuff is coming. It would behoove you in conjunction with this increase to go, hey, here's Call of Duty, blah, 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 the one you wanted right now. Justify the service. That eases the blow. The problem with the base, and the same thing I had with the problem with the business update meeting is, remember, at that time, there was nothing going on for Power World since January, and then there was a whole drought until Hellblade, right? If you got no games to show somebody from a first-party standpoint or a big announcement, it's going to make this announcement tougher, right? And then me and you were getting reports, I don't know if you saw on Twitter, like, I don't know if they wanted this to come out that quick because I saw guys hit me up from Canada like, yo, bro, Cog, Batty, what is this email about Game Pass? Yeah. I think the news broke when they wasn't ready. And news don't usually drop the way it just dropped. You know what I'm saying? I know, shout out to Jez, it came out, he pulled it out. And then after that, it seemed they came out afterwards, right?
Like a support page of their own, yeah.
Even that support, where was the Xbox Wire post with the imagery? Like, you
know,
don't
want to bring attention to it. Like, that's the thing with these subscription services.
Good point.
Do it on the low.
You do it on low.
Always do it on the low.
Yeah.
You want people to sub and forget, even if it is $20 a month.
Exactly. And then you soften the blow, had that announcement ready. Yo, man, we got this, we got that. And you go, all right, you know what? And look, in fairness to what you said in your video, you know, I look at it again, value proposition, day and day. If we look at it objectively, right? And you say, all right, I'm pulling up PlayStation Plus, right? Essential, $9.99. You get monthly games, online multiplayer. You get the cloud storage. Extra for them, the additional things, you get some of the back catalog, a game catalog, right? That's their middle tier, $15, and some Ubisoft classics, right? Mm-hmm. Then premium, $17.99. They add game trials. You get cloud streaming now, and then you get some Sony Pictures catalog. So $17. It went up, but at that point when they went up, there was no additional feature that they added. They just raised the price. Okay, fine. People, I'm not going to do whataboutism. All I'm doing is, if you look at their graphic now, right? I'm going to send you. Matter of fact, I should have sent it. Someone has a graphic of it. I'll try to get it to you. Hold on, let me download this. But basically, they have like the core, the standard, the ultimate, and the Game Pass thing. So what I'm seeing is, for $19 a month, multiplayer, right? And let's give them some credit. Finally, they, at the base level, what pissed me about, what is it, Game Pass Core? Remember they had like, the base level didn't have online multiplayer. It was all, finally at the base level, everyone is online. Thank God. That should never have been separated, in my opinion. You get the deals at discount, you get the Game Pass catalog, you get a limited catalog of the 25 games. And let's be real, the EA Play, Riot Games, cloud membership, but the day one Game Pass game is still the best deal. Yeah. You're getting first party Xbox Studios, Bethesda, Activision, and ID at Xbox, and some select third party games they added to this for 20. In my opinion, I am not going to sit here and say, "Yo, they robbing me for $20." That
especially this holiday, if all the release dates stick like we think they are, you're getting them monthly, which you don't.
Avowed, Indiana Jones, Black Ops 6, right? Protect all the games that we know about, Stalker, whatever, right?
Sim, yeah.
Flight Sim. We can't sit here and say, "Oh, this is a robbery." At least I can't. If you
don't use it a lot, it probably is to you, right? That's the thing. That's where I said, like, you and I are going to sit here and not lose our minds because we use it a lot. So it's like, I'm like, all right, like $3 extra for something I already use a ton. For me, this is my limit. I'm like, okay, if you add it up again, then I'm going to need a little bit more in return, which I'm not anticipating. So there might be a time I'm like, yes, it might be time to hit the unsub and just selectively subscribe. But yeah, right now, like, I can't lose my mind about this in particular. I think the more upsetting part is what's happening with the new middle tier, and it's confusing as fuck now, by the way. It is confusing. Yeah, like, we got core, we got console, we got, which is being sunsetted pretty much for standard. We got ultimate. Ultimate's the only one that I think is like clearly communicated because it's like the top level one. Like, everything else is so, like, to me, core sounds like the middle tier. Like, it sounds like, this is the core of Game Pass. Like, this is the heart of it. This is what you want. It's like, no, this is the bottom level. And then standard. I'm like, what the fuck is that, dude? That's the bronze level. That's the low level one, but it's the mid level one for consoles. And then you have PC Game Pass, which I guess speaks for itself. But yeah, man, when you're a console user, if you're an Ultimate and you're looking at $8 a month cheaper over on PC, I think even the most dedicated Game Pass users got to look at that and be like, man, what the fuck? Like, that's a whole other subscription now somewhere else. Like, you could pay for Spotify with that, Like, that's where I think, again, you got to assess. Like, this should cause everyone to take a moment to assess. That's what all of these subscription service changes do. Like, when Netflix went up again, I was like, I'm out. Nope. I'm done. I don't use you enough. But Game Pass, I'm like, I use you enough right now. Right. So stay user worthy, and I don't think there'll be much of a problem.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's ultimately going to come down to the usage of the player, of the person, especially the new guy. Yeah. And then, like I said, them continue that cadence of adding things to the service to justify keeping people in there. And that's on them. That's their battle. They have to figure that part out.
Well, we're hearing about Activision games coming to Game Pass. Last week, we talked about like Crash, Tony Hawk. But now the report from Tom Henderson is that there is going to be Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 in Game Pass this month. And CT Fire writes incredible reports of COD MW3 in Game Pass this month. Thoughts? So, Cog, what do you make of this? Does this soften the blow for you? And I ask you first because you did like MW3.
Look, I think it's big because regardless I know the masses and the hardcore Call of Duty have been playing every year, like, Cog, it ain't the one. Mm-hmm. We know what a Call of Duty game does for engagement. It's undeniable, right? Mm-hmm. So basically, here's the olive branch. Get a taste of last year's Call of Duty, right? Before Black Ops 6. It's a good test to see, right? Who's engaging? The people who are already existing that have the service, new people that join. And remember when they were shouting from the rooftops as soon as they added Diablo 4, oh my God, we're seeing this record level of engagement and yada, yada, yada. I think this is part of it. And I think you have to, when you do a price increase, in my opinion, you have to give that candy, that treat to soften the blow to the base. And this is the reason why you did the damn deal. So yeah, I think that's a huge addition. Personally, I know the hardcore guys that don't play Call of Duty like that, like any movement, bro. People going to jump in a Call of Duty game in that for free $99. That's going to move the needle. Now the question is how much and how many new people. That's all I'm really concerned about.
You know what would optically move the needle for this year? Truthfully, I don't think MW3 is going to. I mean, the cool part is we just learned like, oh, this is a number 2 selling game of the year, despite all the reviews, and now it's going to hit in the Game Pass. So maybe that calls some. I mean, if it's selling that much still, then it might call some people in the Game Pass earlier than we expect. But I think a little bit about when it comes to Game Pass, I'm losing my fucking train of thought again. This has happened like every week for the last.
I got the vibe you're thinking about adding something to Game Pass.
I was. Thank you.
Okay,
you have been saving me.
Professional pod, you know how we do.
I know. Yeah, you got me. Because I was looking at a picture that I wanted to reference as my next talking point, but back compat. I think if they said like, oh, all right, yeah, like here's not as like hand wavy as I'm putting out, but like, yeah, Call of Duty, this is our big one, Crash and Spyro, all this stuff. Like, here you go, but also like Transformers, here you go. Like, hey, we're bringing back these 360 games, and they're only on Xbox. Like, you can only get them this way. Because remember what they did with like 50 Cent, right? Where like they did back compat in a very specific way. That's I think what was it, disc only?
Yes, it was.
Right. Yep. So like maybe they figured something out where like digital only might be a play. Like maybe, you know how they have like the parity between Series S and X. Maybe there's something on back compat where they loosen some things up just to get it going. Like I think that wouldn't do mainstream level driving subscriber success, but that would curb any sort of negative press to be like, hey, but look, man, like we got these old gems that you care about and they're all right here on Xbox. And I think when you look at the rumors of the Transformers games and them appearing on Steam, like them getting relisted, it's like, okay, if you look like the saviors of dead IP at the same time as prices going up, that would benefit them greatly, right? Like, and this is corporate Maddie speaking this time. Like, I get it. It doesn't soften the blow, but if you're Xbox, this might be a good time to balance out the force a bit and not fully step on the rake, but kind of like walk a little bit around it and say like, hey, well, we also got this stuff here. I think the Game Pass editions on their own will do something for some people. For me, like with newer CODs and like Crash and stuff, like Tony Hawk's the one I'm most interested in. But
it's big.
Otherwise, yeah, I'm not really like losing my mind. But if they were like, well, but we figured out something with back compat, because like the other thing you got to watch out for is like it seems like PlayStation's really figuring it out. Like the PS2 on PS5 back compat is getting it's not back compat, it's emulation, but it's getting better. They got trophy support for it, which is something Xbox fans have asked for a while. Like, why can't I get achievements on OG Xbox games? PlayStation figured that out. And then on top of that, like there are rumors right now based on like what we're seeing with like certifications and everything that there's going to be PS3 emulation of some kind on PS5.
Yes, I did see that.
Xbox needs to look out. This is a big deal. This is a selling point. It's not going to outright sell the console, but when you look at the list of exclusives and then you can see you could also access these older games, that will go a long way. Xbox has a really good back compat library. It's there. It's established. I know that because I buy a lot of these 360 games. And when I was making a video suggesting to people 360 games to buy, I was like, damn, a lot of these are back compat. Like a lot of these are, there's a lot that aren't, but a lot of these are back compat. So Xbox needs to be wary to not be lapped on one of their defining sell points. Like you don't want to see a headline that says like PlayStation is overtaking Xbox as like the premier back compat company. Like, you just don't want to do that. Nintendo's already monetizing back compat with a subscription service. Xbox needs to be wary of that. So if they can kind of take this moment to be like, yeah, the prices went up, but here are some older gems from the Activision library. I'm not saying a full-blown back compat initiative, although I would love that. But like, here are some older gems that we've managed through our partnership with Activision to resurrect. That would go a long way with people, and I think save a bit of the optics in this situation.
1000% agree. And that's why I was surprised. That's why I feel this bid came out before they were ready to talk about it, but we knew it was inevitable. But yeah, you now show the benefits of acquiring Activision Blizzard, hey guys, you get this treasure trove of IPs, and starting this month of Spider-Man, month of Marvel or Transformers games, or you don't have to do the shotgun blast of everything, but you start giving us that in conjunction with a mainline Call of Duty, like a Modern Warfare 3 last, that some people may have missed out and said, you know what, I wasn't going to pay that. It wasn't reviewed that high, and I didn't pay it that year. For these of those remaining guys, like, you know what, hey, you're going to give it to me now, I'll try it in the server. That's how you do it. So I'm curious to see if that happens, because we do, obviously the rumors are percolating that something's coming, and they got to do that quicker. I feel like they got to get on that immediately to keep showing value to this service that you want people to continue to pay for.
Yeah, the only other thing I really wanted to throw out there is I was looking at this image you sent me. It says like Game Pass Core, $9.99 per month or $74.99 a year. Game Pass Standard is going to be $14.99 a month, and then Game Pass Ultimate is $20 a month, and you have PC Game Pass at $12 a month. And I look at this, and I think one of the problems here is, I think one way Game Pass managed to sell itself, I feel, is how close together the values were. Like, you had that feeling of going, oh, I signed up for Game Pass Core for a couple dollars more. I'll get like Game Pass Console, and I'll get day one games here, but I'm not going to go quite to Ultimate yet, right? Like, you were able to go up a couple of bucks. Like, you realize Core really isn't for me. Now it's a $5 leap, which I think is more considerable. It's like, oh, but I want day one. Like, that's more worth it to me. Now you're talking a whole other subscription service. Like, I think the one thing that this pricing arrangement fails to do is net in the user who originally was coming in Game Pass Core. Remember, we talked about when that was introduced, you're just going to go up a couple of bucks to Game Pass Console. Maybe they're looking at that and they're saying that didn't work out. But for me, on the outside looking in, I see here a whole other subscription service between Core and Ultimate. And I think that's a problem because you don't really get people to slide in. And even on the low level of like, all right, I'll pay $5 more, I don't think Standard is enticing beyond that massive catalog, which can go a long way for people. But I don't know if it's enticing enough for the $5 jump when beyond that, it's another $5 to get to Ultimate. So I wonder about that for those who are already in there looking to upgrade. I think going another 10 is a tougher swing. And so I worry a little bit about that versus like 6 where it originally was.
No, it's a great question. My question is two-part. One, as we look at the doc, Game Pass Core seems to be the only tier that gives the option of an annual lock-in. Yeah. And I'm confused. Why would they not want this option on Ultimate at minimum? That's clearly where you want people to be.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's why I feel like it's a little reactionary, and I wonder about the motives behind this, because I'm like, that didn't feel very planned out, like
right.
This has been requested for a while.
Yes, like you literally can lock someone in. Yeah. So why not? Is it you don't want them to see the actual number? Like, obviously, they core is now raised to $74.99 a year, but like, why not just say $19.90 a month / whatever a year, and you're Ultimate? It's clear as day. You want us an Ultimate fan.
Yeah,
we ain't gonna sugarcoat this. That's where you want it. You want to get all that bread, extract that value. That's fine. Here's the second question I got for you, Maddie. Game Pass Standard. Not look at that in the day one game editions line. Not day one, added at a future date. This, to me, you correct me if I'm wrong, does this not seem like, oh, you will get it, but later, maybe, if I had to guess, 6 months, a year? What does that spell you? And how long a wait do they get that?
Do you think, this is where I think it's so fascinating to cover Xbox, because I'm wondering about the little things we tracked, like the deluxe editions, like, get a little early access here, right? How much has FOMO benefited Xbox, where they see this and they're like, yeah, you're in that middle tier right there at Standard, but you're not getting that for like 3 months, but you can get it now with Ultimate. And then maybe that's where the price proposition, like, oh, I only pay $5 to get a $70 game. Then maybe that's where it works out for them.
That's how I think they do it. The question is, I want to know if they pull a PlayStation-like approach, where it's like, how PlayStation, it's always, 1 year before it go to PC, mostly, right? When it comes to the single player bangers that they have, right? They be like, all right, Ghost Shima, you're going to wait at least a year, right? Or for the standard guy, is it 3 months? Is it 6 months? Like, for example, Hellblade 2 came out and around this time, how long would they have to, was a Game Pass Standard member at $15 a month have to wait for that to join the service? I am very curious about that, because they did say add it at a future date.
It's got to be long enough to entice, but not completely ruin that tier, right? Like I
Correct.
feel it's got to be at or around 3 months. That might be
So you got shorter.
extreme, but
Okay.
I feel like 1 month, there's so many games coming into Game Pass. Like they do 2 waves a month, right?
Right.
So it's really easy just to say, I'll wait. I got something to play every 2 weeks for 3 months. Like the Game Pass is already providing that. But I feel like if you go any shorter than that, it's like you're not getting you. They got to walk a line here. Like you're not going to get the people to hop over. Like you got to make it. I don't want it to be that. By the way, I want to make that clear.
Of course.
But from the Xbox point of view, no doubt their goal is to make you feel like, damn, I'm missing out. Like,
Right.
and if you don't care, then that's great. More power to you. But for those who want to get involved, I think they're going to see a lot of adjustments. Like, oh, I'm going to stay at standard, and then Avowed's coming out. Here's my ultimate.
Here's my ultimate. And I think that's the bank that they're making prior to a COD, prior to a Black Ops 6.
Get people to move down to standard after they're in on ultimate and hopefully staying with the service, maybe.
Possibly at minimum, and to entice the standard guy that you ain't gonna FOMO this, you gonna pay the $5 and you gonna get in that ultimate kind of thing. I mean, it's very interesting when I saw that line. I was like, okay, they're gonna add it, but those dudes are gonna wait. Question is how long. But
very, very interesting time here.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else here with Xbox Game Pass and all of its changes that you wanted to go over? I think we've covered all of the tiers. Yeah, we covered PC, Game Pass, console, all that stuff. Anything else you wanted to go over?
Look, I think you said it best. This is a value proposition based on your usage. You got to do as a consumer what's best for you, right? And if jumping in, jumping out for the games you want is what's best for you at that point, $20 here and there, fine. There's going to be some people that this is a nothing burger. They're like, hey, this is the best service in gaming still to me. I still get day one, day gates. It's a $3 increase. This is such a big deal. And I understand that perspective too. I'm probably more along that camp, but I do understand for anyone who questions and says, yo, you see, sustainability, I can't push back too much because clearly they have done this to react, to keep their business. The people who are number crunching, this is the solution they came up with for us to get this service and to continue to have this service. So I have to admit, there is some to keep us alive. We got to do this, fam, because you ain't making these type of changes otherwise, because technically it did slap in the face of things that they have said prior, right? So we got to hold them accountable for that aspect. And that's where I'm at with it. Something I expected, but at the same time, I would have liked them to have some tangible evidence, like reward or games ready to justify, make people a little bit more at ease, the people who are really against this.
Yeah, it makes you wonder because there was no wire post or anything like that. So maybe this broke a little earlier. And so it's possible by the time that this episode airs that Xbox has maybe adjusted or said something that...
Here come that Tom Henderson report. Here come that Modern Warfare all of a sudden announcement.
Yeah, 100%. All right, Cog. Well, we move on from Game Pass changes to Xbox's hardware and software sales. Matt Piscatella of Circana, formerly NPD, had the tail of the tape on May 2024 for game sales, and it was quite revealing on where Hellblade 2 falls. Hellblade 2 ranked 37th overall for May 2024, its release month, in US full game dollar sales, which is physical and digital for sharing pubs, and ranked 21st on Xbox Series sales. This is much better than how the game fared in Europe, where it did not manage to crack the top 100, according to GamesIndustry.biz. In the terms of engagement, Matt Piscatella reveals that Hellblade 2 ranked at number 12 and was eclipsed by Fallout 76 at number 11. Still, Hellblade 2 pulled ahead of games like Apex Legends and Forza Horizon 5 for its month. Perhaps more concerning, if it continues to be a part of their long-term roadmap, is Xbox's inability to push its newest hardware into customers' hands. PlayStation 5 led May 2024 in hardware for both unit and dollar sales, while Switch finished second in unit sales and Xbox Series ranked second in dollars. Throughout PlayStation's first 43 months on the market, the PS5 is ahead of the PS4 by 8%, while the Xbox Series systems trail Xbox One by 13%, as well as slightly lagging behind Xbox 360 by an unspecified number, according to Matt Piscatella. Meanwhile, Japanese outlet Famitsu has reported estimated console sales in Japan. The Xbox Series X clocks in at roughly 285,014 units, while the Series S is at 315,431 units. This is definitely an improvement from the Xbox One's 100K sales in the region, but is far away from the 360's lifetime of 1.6 million sales. KB has the write-in. Hey Dukes, the MPD results for May are out, and surprisingly, Hellblade 2 is missing from the top 20 games of the month. In fact, Hellblade 2 ranked 37th in the US and didn't even make the top 100 games in Europe. Considering Hellblade 2 is Xbox's only big AAA exclusive so far this year, how many individual copies do you think it sold? Do you think it would be wise for Ninja Theory to move on from this franchise? Thanks. So, Cog, I want to get your assessment on this. Hellblade's performance from Xbox's point of view, like, okay, this is our big exclusive for the year, but also this more, we would say, critical darling attempt that is a boutique style game, if you will, small studio, artsy, for a very particular type of gamer. Should it have done better than what we have seen here? What do you think it did sales wise? I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts as someone who enjoyed the game more than me.
Yeah, man. Look, I love this game, and look, it's surprising on one end, but it's not surprising on another end. The not surprising part is like, okay, look how the game was marketed or lack of marketing, but the reality is they made a digital only release, my understanding, right? So you could not physically get a copy of Hellblade 2 in a retail fashion. That part to note, and it's in Game Pass. Like, yeah, should I be expecting huge physical numbers? No. But what I am surprised is that, the ranking on engagement, I believe, was like 12, right? He said, in turn, and there's a clip by Fallout, which is huge. We know Fallout's popping right now. So I think internally, even though they were anticipating not to do any big physical sales, that they probably expected way more engagement on this game, potentially on the platform. And that part's disappointing, as a person who loves the game. And I think it is a very, artistic style choice with the things that they've done. But in your defense, it is a short game, right? And some people are like, it didn't move the needle for them to run out and maybe purchase it in the way that they maybe have anticipated. My concern is different. My concern is, I hate to keep bringing up the sore subject that is Tango, but we have to talk about the elephant in the room, right? So if you make these creative, artistic style games that, what does that hold for you? Now, I feel a little bit more confident with Ninja Theory because they are, in my opinions, the kings of graphical fidelity right now until Playground drops their game and see what's going on with that. But as of right now, dumb dudes over there in UK is the dudes. I will stand on Hellblades 2 being the pinnacle of graphical fidelity as of right now in the console space. So, to me, when you have a team like that talented, there's no way you can't help utilize them with other projects as we see with other Xbox games to you. So my gut says they're probably safe. They're still okay. But I can't say there's not any concern, right?
Yeah.
That after a shuttering of a Tango with a critically acclaimed game, right? So, and let's be clear, I know people don't, it's divisive on some level, but what is it, an 81, 82 Metacritic for Hellblade 2? It's not terrible. It's not, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. No, it still was received fairly well, but you do worry the lack of commercial success. Man, does this put Compulsion somewhere we don't want them to be? And that I'm always going to be on the side of keeping them alive and wanting them to be there. So that's my slight concern. I will say this though, now that we see a shift in philosophy, so to speak, in terms of Xbox and the Game Pass model, right? Because we were told having games like Hi-Fi Rush could exist next to Call of Duty, right? We were told that. So of course, people want to know, is this going to ring true? Or did your philosophy change that all you want is the big blockbuster, Black Ops things? And what happens to our beloved Compulsion? So I think those are fair questions. My gun in my head, I still think they will be fine. But it's in the back of my mind. I was hoping to do, especially in UK. That's what bothered me. I'm be honest. The one that bothered me is like, man, they ain't do over. That's their home game, so to speak. You know what I mean? I was hoping it'd be a little bit bigger there. But what do you think? That's just where I'm at. As far as the did we get to the console part? I'm sorry.
We'll hold on consoles for now.
We'll hold on. All right. So I just want to talk about Hellblade. So that's where I'm at with Hellblade. Yes.
Yeah, Hellblade 2. I think if I'm Xbox, I guess I'm looking at it from my own perspective. If I'm Xbox, I think you understood. Number one, you don't really market it much, but number two is like, was this ever going to sell a ton when it was like a 5, 6, maybe 7 hour game for some out there, not including New Game Plus. Like, was it ever going to sell a ton at that length for its price tag? And yes, that's even at the discounted 50. Like, would it ever have sold a lot? And I think some people will call this cope, but I'm just like, I think you have to be honest with yourself and say, like, no, I don't think this felt like it was destined for sudden commercial success. I think if it was a game that was longer and like you could really attach yourself to these characters for a while and sink into it more, as we capped off a kind of busy part of the year, and you had the opportunity to be like the big game of that month, like, yeah, maybe it would have resulted in more purchases. But the reality is, people heard that game length and went, like, no, I'm not going to spend. Games are way too expensive nowadays to be spending, $50 on an afternoon. That's just not it for a lot of people. So if I'm Xbox, you kind of know this might be a reality. At least I hope they know this is a reality. What I think would be concerning to them is engagement. This is your big exclusive. And for it to be usurped by even Fallout 76, which is doing really well, but to not crack the top 10 in your own ecosystem shows to me, and people are not going to like this, who wants this? If you can't convince people to hop in and just download the brand new, only marquee exclusive you had this year, right? Like, let's say you are on the Xbox platform, you are invested, you have Game Pass, and there are people like that who were not convinced enough to hop in the month of May, enough to pull this game into the top 10. I know it's just shy of it, so maybe I'm coming in a little harsh. That has to send a message to them, like, who is looking for this? Because that to me is the one metric that I think could have helped this game out. Like, yeah, didn't sell a lot, but look, there was interest. And I know, by the way, I know interest doesn't pay bills, but if what we're hearing about Xbox is true, where despite what happened with Tango, they're still looking for, games with they're not really sales focused. They're more of a premium allure, a prestige piece, that sort of thing, where they can put them next to the Call of Duties, as Cog said. Then if you had the engagement, maybe they can rest easy saying, hey, what we have here is these big things that are going to pull people in, and this will keep them engaged. This will keep them around, where they'll play for Game Pass, but maybe they're not going to buy it, right? And you do the math of that afterwards. But what we're seeing here is the people who are engaged in the system the most weren't playing it a lot. And I find that a little bit concerning if I'm Xbox, is that the engagement is low for the only big exclusive you've dropped this year.
Great point. You got me thinking too. You know what my fear is? It's the fear, because I answered the question, which was the sequel, right? That is my fear, because let's be honest, I got to give Xbox a spot. I always give Square smoke. Mm-hmm. But when we see these moves, like we talk about the Xbox thing and whatever, they're changing the price, they're raising this, they do that. You all give it a little check energy, right? You all give it a little, we gotta tighten the purse strings, bro. Like, yo, Call of Duty about to come. Y'all dudes gonna pay, because y'all been eating good for a long time. Now it's time.
Filet mignon now. They're done with the ramen noodles.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I got to look at it. So there is a fear because of the engagement and the fact, let's be honest, $50 game, no microtransactions. And to your point, short, right? Mm-hmm. That doesn't spell engagement, darling. Yeah. Right. So does that pressure Microsoft to tell Ninja Theory, like, all right, I know you had Hellblade 3 on the docket, but how about Project Mara though? How about what's up with that?
Well, how long is, you mentioned the game length. I just want to throw out there, like, you'd think the short length would encourage some engagement, like, all right, let me see what this is all about, right? Like, I can finish this quick, but didn't really move the needle. Sorry, continue.
I'm with you. No, I'm with you. I whatever Project Mara is, I don't know exactly what it is,
like
right?
A horror game.
Yeah, right, horror, whatever. But like, maybe it's I'm just guessing, 15, 20-hour horror game that keeps people a little longer in the thing and game. Yeah. And I think maybe there's a part of them, let's be honest, I don't know. I'm guessing there could be, I don't want to say a resentment. That's too strong a word. But in my opinion, if I'm corporate Cog and I'm looking at Ninja Theory, 4 to 5 hours with no microtransactions, even though it's this amazing artistic game, I could nudge you to not want to make that style the next go around after seeing these numbers. We could say, maybe just next generation come back to that.
Yeah.
What's the next one up for this one? Mara, whatever. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Because we do know off the record, right? The Hi-Fi Rush sequel was not when they went to pitch.
Yeah.
There's like, thank you, but this doesn't look like even within 3, sir. Thank you, but no, thank you. like that's cool, but we're looking for. That's what the rumors say. Again, if I'm incorrect, I'm incorrect. I'm just telling you what was kind of put out there. So that's my feel. Like, man, like, and you know me, I'm the Hellblade 2 guy. Like, I'm the guy I want the third one, but I gotta be honest. Corporate Cog looking at it like they may look at it like, we gave y'all that. Let's do something else. Let's sit on that one for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
so we'll Xbox, right? And I say this more like what we've talked about in the past. Like, all right, like you've paid your dues. Like, hey, you got the game.
Hey, you got it out.
Now it's time to play our game. Like,
yes,
okay. Now you're gonna make what we want because we gave you so much grace in this period of time. And let's be real, they bought them in 2018, and it wasn't until 2024 that they were able to get anything out of them. And I think there's got to be a level of like, all right, we anticipated maybe some of this, but let's try to extract a little more value. And I think that Ninja Theory, again, can pay for their value in ways that are not just game releases. There's no doubt that graphics programmers are going to be hitting up Ninja Theory in spades across the
best in
family.
business.
Like, how do we get our game to look like yours without sacrificing any of our gameplay elements? Like, they could be a coalition level developer for Xbox. It's like, oh, we don't see a game for you for a while, but you're helping everyone out.
You gonna help out. Oh, by the way, Obsidian needs you. Get over there.
And that's why I don't think anything's gonna happen to them.
I agree.
Am I gonna act like I'm completely worry free? No. But I think they offer value beyond the games they make, and so I think that, and they don't use a custom engine, so I think that goes to help the whole Xbox family thing. Not that I'm saying Arcane couldn't have done that with a mind like Harvey Smith or, John Johannes or Tango. I get it. Like, there's definitely a counter argument to it, but that is my approach to it. Is like, I think that Ninja Theory can pay for itself in other ways where maybe it's not just this game sale and it's done. But I do think you look at these numbers in your launch month, by the way, and have to say there's a business reality check. Now, what will be interesting to see is the PlayStation release, right? Like, okay, what does this fan base think about this? Because look, Sea of Thieves was doing good engagement wise. It fucking lit up the sales chart on PlayStation, though. So there's something there. And Xbox probably has a level of optimism, like, okay, they don't want it, but the originators of Hellblade 1 might have a vested interest in this one.
And they may pay $70, right? Or $50, excuse me. Which is the recoup, right? This may be candidate for game number 5.
Oh,
right?
Dude, 100% is it was candidate for game number 5 before there was 1, 2, 3, and 4. 100%.
Right. Yeah. Based on this metric. And here's another detail that I forgot about. And again, I want to be clear to the Rebel Dukes. I personally, my gut of guts, do not think they're in danger of being shut down. I honestly don't.
Yeah, I don't.
However, I will say we are forgetting another key detail. I remember interviewing them, and shout out to the great, I forgot her name, Rainey, I forgot her name is, Bleeding Edge.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, right. That was
20. Yeah. So we have a portfolio now. Now we got 2.
I forgot you did have a game come out in those years. Okay.
Corporate Cog, like, all right, right now you're going to be in a support role, or you're going to work on this other stuff to justify your existence. This is 2 shots at engagement, right? Kind of thing. And I'm just curious. Last question is, I'm internally curious. Was it true? Look, I believe Microsoft allows them to do what they want to do. But I'm just curious I was curious at the game length, because I'm like, damn, we all talked about BUG, like we were just getting into it. We're damn, it's over. Yeah. I was cooking that final
short for sure.
Yeah. So there's a part of me like, man, like whose decision was it? Was it the fact that maybe y'all taking too long and we got to get this going? We need that little document, we need that little joint come out. But that's what I'm curious. But yeah, I still think they're fine. I think they're best in class in graphics. I think they are unique and needed. But yes, they're going to have to maybe pivot. I don't think we're going to get Hellblade 3 anytime. I'm just going to be honest. That's my gut right now. I think if we get a Hellblade 3, it's new, 2027, 2028, later down the road, energy with a new console. In this current generation, you're working on something else, fam. That's my gut.
It's also just weird how the game's been handled. It started off as a PlayStation exclusive indie title, $20, really big success, gradually comes over to other systems. Xbox buys them, makes it exclusive to their platform, which you understand, right? But then what's interesting is you look at something like Doom the Dark Age is not exclusive at all. And so now entry 3 could potentially be multi-plat, but entry 2 is going to have this delayed migration to PlayStation. Maybe, I doubt Switch, but maybe like Switch 2. There's a little bit of a question mark in the handling of this one on Xbox's hands as well, because like now that we're out of this whole, like we've had months to process like what an exclusive situation looks like for Xbox, and they continue to double down like we're going to have exclusives. It's like, okay, what I don't get is the rationale, like why is Hellblade not multi-platform when it had legacy on other platforms, but like
Good
Doom
point.
is able to be multi-plat. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
did you think this was going to draw? Because what that tells me is I'm like, they thought this was going to draw more people in. And when you see the engagement numbers, I'm like, I don't know if it's panning out how they wanted it to. So does Xbox have any level of accountability? The answer is no, because we know in these situations that it's like the developers that would pay the price for these business decisions being made. It's not going to be the higher ups. But again, good food for thought, I think.
Yeah, very curious to monitor, man. I'm very intrigued by the compulsion of the Hellblade 3 situation, so to speak.
What do you think of these console sales, though? Lagging behind by 13% to the Xbox One at this point in the race. And they say slightly lagging behind the 360. So could Xbox have a late generation push up its sleeve, since they're still in the company of the 360 by this point in the generation, but gaming has grown exponentially since that point in time. So that's why those numbers are close. But to be behind your considered biggest failure by that much in what is a generation that you can see how optics play a factor, right? Like if you look at it, stripping out any communication, just games, hardware, games, hardware, and feature set. Like, oh, we have cloud gaming now, Game Pass. Like, this has been a good enough generation for Xbox to buy in. But you see in years like 2022, the top of this year, the uncertainty clearly has caught up to them, because I think these numbers should be way better. But we see what's happened since then, where people just don't have time for the inconsistency. And to see PS5 is doing better than the extremely successful PS4. When, let's be real, like PS5 has been bone dry for the most part. Like,
it had a good top of the year, though.
Good top of the year. Sorry, I'm talking like they've had their pockets where just not much has been going on.
Yes, I agree. They've been getting away with a lot of long pockets. Yeah. I agree. That's a good point.
And like, I'm looking forward to games from them. Like, you're right, by the way. Top of the year was really good. I always forget, because things like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth absolutely count as like a PlayStation exclusive, and that game's amazing. So like, there's that. But I'm looking forward to games like Astrobot. But you look at their success compared to Xbox, it's like, wow. I mean, even by because Xbox always kind of deflects and goes like, well, by our own metrics, Xbox is doing the best it ever has been. I'm like, can you really say that when the hardware is lagging by this kind of percentage? So, Cog, what do you make of these numbers? The Japan numbers are less surprising. It's good to see they're doing better in the region, though. They're almost halfway there to their biggest success in Japan compared to the 360, which, again, I talked about how gaming has grown since the 360 generation. So you account for that, and maybe these numbers still aren't that impressive, but for their own lifetime in that region, this is the best they've done since the 360 generation. So there's a victory to take away there, even if it's a very small base. But how are you feeling about where hardware sits for Xbox? And does this make you think about no console required and what exactly that means for the brand?
Great question. You know what's funny? It is a struggle for me as a hardcore console gamer to see those type of statistics and be like, oh, like what's going on? Like, how y'all behind Xbox One, arguably the worst, you know what I'm saying? Generate like, the console centric nature of me does feel a way when you do see that, right? But I have to be honest, like, I just think Microsoft, this is the reality. They are a bottom line company. And the way I look at them is they look at them fiscals and they look at gaming revenue as a whole. How much? Oh, we're making money. And I know people are like, yo, but if it wasn't for ABK, they don't care about that.
Yeah, overall, right?
Is the gaming revenue is lit? We up? All right, let's continue to extract value. Let's continue to make money. They are the money-making company. And as far as they're concerned, they don't care about our feelings with this console. It's clear as day. They are tripling down. Yeah, that's cute. No console required, though. Hey, girl, no console required. like, bro, it's in the commercial for the Amazon joint. It's clear. It is literally We don't care about your feelings.
Yeah.
Look at how much money we're making. So that's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it is a struggle for a guy with like me with console traditional sensibilities, because there's a part of me like, well, if you don't just drive people away, maybe it'll get better, right? But at the end of the day, I'm not corporate cog in that room. I don't have this data that they have, that they're sitting there. The fact that they're this aggressive with it is like, fam, y'all talk, but y'all don't buy. Now, the counter question, point to them though, is we would buy maybe more if you start pushing us away and start treating us like second-class citizens. You know what I'm saying? So I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I am friends with both sides of the argument, and I understand it. You know, and it's just, you know, for me, I'm going to tell you what I really think is going on. This is my gut, and I could be wrong. I think they've thrown in the towel on this console thing. I think they like, look, we've got a great service. We got great value. The platform is Game Pass. We ain't going to get no more value out of this console. It's clear as day with the Game Pass Ultimate tiers and all of this, right? The tiers of Game Pass structure, the way it's clear who they are valuing right now, right? It is clear. It is a push towards enticing this new group that could get down PC, mobile, you know what I'm saying? The way I look at console, not that they're going to give, I do believe, I know everybody, they say I get it. There's nothing I can say. If you want to do your both sides of your mouth beams with everyone, COG will not fight you today. I lay down my arms. You have the W. I will give y'all that, right? But what I will say is, I look at them right now like, look, fam, it almost reminds me of a longer version of the OG Xbox cycle when they knew it wasn't going to sell no more. Get the 360 ready. Coming out early. We got the whole revamp, and that's what I see from them. I see a 2026 on the console side for my console guys. That's why, because I do have to give them credit. They keep saying, yo, we coming. We're not getting rid of it, which is surprising to me. This seems like energy to get you into third-party publishing, right? Yeah. This seems like the energy, but they keep saying that. So to me, I feel maybe, I don't know if it's the last hurrah or if it's the last console or maybe one more after that, but we're getting close with them. Yeah. So my gut is the 2026 alleged push. That's when it's all in. I think they realize, like, look, for whatever reason, and then maybe the deal, these are one of my theories, my hypothesis. The deal took too damn long to get. You can't tell me, I don't care what nobody say, you can't tell me that they thought they was going to be in damn near 2 years of litigation with something that they already had a signed deal, that they already had the metrics at the time. If we put Call of Duty to service, yo, look what we going to do, right? Mm-hmm. And consoles were selling at that time. Series X consoles were actually selling. Yep. Then you're 2 years, now you got to do all this capitulation, and now you got to. So in my mind, the money guys was like, fam, where my money at? You said we was going to be here with revenue. You said we was going to have 50 million, making up fake, arbitrary number, 50 million game. Where my money at? So this is Sacha in the room. Phil, where my money at, B? New York them. All that's cute. It remind me, what's Hiroki Totoki doing? Y'all a bunch of great people. We like y'all. You work very hard. But this is not up to the standard. He's cracking the whip over there. You don't see what Hiroki Totoki doing over there?
He plays a tough game over there.
They not, corporate ain't playing that game. And to me, no disrespect. I'm one of the few people that like the regime over here. I don't want them to go, but I feel them guys are tired. So I think if I had to guess, this again, I'm not an insider. I'm just guessing. This is how I feel. They have thrown in the towel on the console side for the rest of this generation. We're gonna expand, get these new guys. 2026 come. We'll do our last hurrah with this new joint, and we'll have the games. We'll have the Emergence Day. We'll have all these games. That was the key Achilles heel with Series X and S. Mm-hmm. Remember that launch? Yeah. Nothing. Yeah. I got my spreadsheet right here. Nothing. I was playing Gears Tactics. I was playing Hive Busters DLC. And Destiny was a third party. They had it on Beyond. That's the only thing that saved me. They had Destiny, Beyond Light, and Game Pass. I'm looking at it right now.
I
and Like a
forgot
Dragon.
they had Destiny and Game Pass.
Bro, I'm looking at them, and I played Yes, Your Grace. I played 4 games, and let's be honest, I'm a turn-based.
360. Yeah. That was the first game I fired up.
I'm looking at look at my spread. Xbox 2022. This is what we was rocking with. There was nothing, and you were still survive. Remember, we were like, "Wow, we're amazed they're even surviving."
Yeah, the sales were neck and neck at first, and that's the thing that we always tracked and never can make sense of. But we can see it tapered off quick.
Quick. They didn't get going until 2021, and then you're like, "All right, boom." Look at my spreadsheet again. All right, Psychonauts, Horizon, Halo Infinite, Flight Simulator, MLB The Show, Outriders. Oh, it's cooking. Octopath. I was playing Ascent, Last Stop. I know you hate Ascent. Hades, Back for Blood, Forgotten City. I'm looking at I'm like, oh, we cooking. 2022 come. Starfield, what you call it, delayed. Redfall, delayed. Here's Grounded, though. Here's Pentiment, though. Mm-hmm. Here's a late Deathloop. You see what I'm saying?
I forgot about that.
I got the list. I'm telling y'all. Now, granted, they had Game Pass was lit in 2022. Super lit. I'm at Mass Effect, Nobody Saves the World, Marvel Guardians, Iron and Chronicle Rising, Vampire Survivor, Naraka Blade Point, As Dust Falls, Power Wash, Death Stranding. Was that the year
they did the Bethesda drop too?
I believe the Bethesda drop happened. I believe so this year. Chorus. So Game Pass kind of saved them from completely being irrelevant in 2022. Mm-hmm. And here come 2023. Okay, we back. You see, it's this. Yeah. It's this, and then no consistent amount of games at the start. So that's how I look at them. And then this, to me, you retool, you do your most technical, most powerful thing that they're raving about, and then you have the games, and let's see what happens. And now you got the server, and now you got ABK and all the titles. So you should be theoretically cooking.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I mean, what's interesting to think about, and it's only hitting me now, we've talked extensively about how we both buy into the theory that Xbox will launch a console generation sooner than PlayStation. Not only to rewrite the rule book a little bit, but to kind of stoke the fires of that 360 generation. What's really interesting about with them starting a console generation sooner is Sarah Bond has specifically gone on record multiple times now saying we're working on the next generation of consoles. And if you think about it with what people originally predicted, like, 2028, they're way early to be talking about it. That's the thing. It's like, we know they work on it that early, but they're super ahead of the ball here to be talking about it. And that's the key point. They continue to mutter about it enough to put out there that something's happening. And we know probably the half step between is not going to be like an Xbox Pro unit. That's probably why they're not doing it, by the way. Right? Because it's just blood out of a stone. A handheld, though, as part of the broad ecosystem, like, you could, based on what Phil's suggesting, like native, cloud gaming, like a good machine for Xbox games, might be a good half step in there. And then a year and change later, here's the new system, next gen. I just don't think that they're talking about it now to save face, because it does nothing to gain any sort of new console sales. They're talking about it probably because it's coming sooner than we think. And this is their way of teasing it.
You're on fire. I think I love the handheld idea as people trying to, as a company trying to get in more ecosystems and more people that would never buy the console. You want to give the most out. Here's the last point, and this is the real hard truth. I had this talk with Peter Moore before, offline. And the thing about it too is, one of the benefits we keep forgetting of the 360 launch, having the market to yourself. Let's be real about brand power and recognition when you keep going head up launches with these dudes. We got to keep it. When I say these dudes, PlayStation Nation, you know what I mean? I'm having fun. You know what I'm saying? But I think that is also key, having the market to yourself. Have that 2026. I remember Pro most likely this year, right? Or next year, whatever, soon. Okay, they'll have the generational update. That's fine. They're going to take a beating on the digital foundries. That's coming, right? Yeah. That's happening, right? Third-party comparisons. They about John, what's his name? Going to have a field day. John Linneman and Richard Ledbetter about to have a field day where their comparisons going to go. So you hold the line, but you got games. So at the end of the day, it's not. I don't feel it's going to hurt them too much because they actually have a ton of games. But 2026, if they do this, and it's this technological leap, separate from PlayStation. Have it to yourself. Build. That's what made 360 dope. Yeah, PlayStation did come, but they was already rocking and rolling as the default thing with all the places. And I think that's something that we talked about, is them mimicking this 360 energy. That's my gut as far as what I think is going on. But we'll see. I could be wrong.
We will. Yeah. So interesting time for sales on the Xbox front. Cog, anything else you want to throw out here for how Xbox is performing financially?
No, that's pretty much it. You know, that again, it's always good to look at the data. I always feel that. Like, look at the data, make sense of it. Don't make excuses. Let's see what's going on. Let's try to extrapolate what we can. But yeah, that this is very telling to me on certain things.
Mm-hmm.
But my overall point, like I wanted to stress earlier, was that I feel that Microsoft does not look at it the way us as gamers look at it. They look at it as bottom line, how much money and revenue they're making,
Yeah.
and in their mind, they're still making revenue. They're still fine, and they'll deal with us later with the emotionality of these consoles not selling or moving.
I think ultimately your point at the top is what rings true, which is something we've said for a while. Is like if they think they're succeeding in gaming, it's likely got to be an accumulative entire gaming revenue. Like it's not just sales and consoles are down but we're doing well in games revenue. I know they break it up that way in their spreadsheet, but if the overall revenue is up, it seems to be that's what they care about, especially if they're continuing to sell so poorly in hardware and apparently are seemingly like doubling down, like with, not just like, oh, we're going to do another console, but like a handheld. Like that's a pretty kind of big swing in a different direction. Like, fuck it, let's see what happens here. Why not? So, that's where they're at. I don't know. What did I say that was out of pocket?
It was the way you said that. F it ain't working. Listen to it. Yeah. It was the way you said it was wild funny. I like that.
When you cover your mouth like that, I'm always like, what did I say?
Oh, no, because I don't want to interrupt you and completely bust out laughing while you talking. Because sometimes you say something so funny to me, I'll be laughing internally. You was on fire with that.
All right. Well, Cog, it's time for the Game Pass pick of the week, and I got something even funnier for you here. Fallout 76. I think I've done this before, but I wanted to do it again because Skylines. Your face. Stop that.
Hold on, fam. What?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah. So originally it was Immortals of Avium. I'm like, I think I've done that, but I thought of Fallout 76 like right before we transitioned here. And I was like, you know what I never got a chance to talk about was Skyline Valley. And that update was mad good. And I was like, yo, if you're not on Game Pass checking out 76, you might be doing yourself a disservice. This new update is what Fallout fans have been asking for a while from this game. And if you have been waiting for really PvE centric content in a whole new biome, new quests, new characters, new enemies, new weapons, all that fun stuff, 76 Skyline Valley is exactly what you've been looking for. This new biome is sick. It's on the southern part of the map. And it is. So this is also, by the way, I should mention the first time they have expanded the base game's map. Otherwise, everything that's been new that's been added on has been inside the map, or they've like taken you somewhere else, like an expedition to a whole other map. But when it comes to this is the first time they've grown the base game map, and it is. I mean, the art direction was already really good for West Virginia in 76, but this map, when you walk in, it's more 76 at first, but as you go closer to the center, a red storm starts to gather. And artistically and visually, I gotta say, it's really good looking. It's impressive looking. There are these new enemy types that got like a hollowed kind of echoey voice, and they're very creepy looking. And they're tied to this vault that something went wrong here. And the way this whole quest starts is you find out in the middle of nowhere a vault door, like not a vault, but a vault door just in the ground. You're like, well, how the hell did this get here? And that kind of springs the investigation. The story is great. The biome is great. Like the loot is awesome. This is what people wanted from this game. And to follow up the big surge of players with something like this in the terms of an update is fantastic. Like perfect for the game's health. Like they needed a good update because around the launch of the game, they had America's Playground, which I was critical of. I was like, man, this game's just always a half step away. Funny enough, a few months later, here they arrive with one of their best updates ever and one of their biggest updates ever. So yeah, if you got Game Pass, you're looking for a Fallout fix, the base game of 76 is much improved if you've never played it before, or maybe you dipped your toe in and then stepped away from it. But if you've been involved for a little bit, you have a decently leveled character, go check out Skyline Valley. It's like legitimately good Fallout stuff. Like the things that I love about Fallout are here in this expansion. Like if you're looking for that new Fallout feel, that new Fallout flavor, like it's here. It's right here in this update. It's very good. So please check it out.
Oh, thank you for this. What about like questing? Like I know PvE bros, with 76 sometimes like, yo, I want more of a closer to a traditional Fallout 4. How did you feel about that, the questing part in general, or just like, what changes kind of resonate the most with you?
I would say it's exploration. So, like, for example,
Mhm.
when they did the new expeditions, they're like, this is the first time we're doing an open world map outside of Appalachia. Put an asterisk on that because, like, for those who've played the game, there are these things called expeditions that you're familiar with. For those who are unfamiliar with it, basically, this is a strong term, but it'll at least paint a picture in your head of what to expect gameplay wise. This is like a Fallout 76 raid. Like, it's a long
Mm,
stretch mission, kind of cooperatively driven, not to the
mm.
level of Destiny 2 by
Correct,
any
correct.
stretch of the imagination, but the idea is like these big kind of dungeons that you do together with friends. And so what they did with America's Playground is they're like, all right, so basically they said it was going to be new open world stuff, and it's really just a new quest hosted in that map, but there's no new
Got
locations to go off the beaten path and explore or anything like that. Now, here at Skyline Valley, what I love is it's exactly what I love from BGS games. It's like, okay, I'm going to assign this main quest on my tracker, running that direction. Oh, I see something on my map. Let me check that out. And there's this whole other like quest line there, or this whole other dungeon for me to get into and get involved with. Just chilling right there. Like, that is the beauty of it. It is pure BGS magic. And I think for those of you who've been playing Starfield and maybe you enjoy Starfield, but you're missing sort of that on foot exploration, Skyline Valley brings you right back to that too. So, like,
Gotcha.
it's traditional BGS. That's my favorite thing about it, because 76 has
Mm.
been, for the most part, outside of Wastelanders and the updates they made, for the most part, was very untraditional Bethesda game studios.
Right. That was the
This
criticism
was the
earlier.
closest they've really flown toward and not
Mm.
even close. Like, they're there. Like, this is what we wanted.
Oh, for Heartburn. Now we ain't gonna go there. We
No,
ain't
no,
gonna
no, no,
get
no.
too
We're not going that
ridiculous. We ain't
far.
gonna get too
No, no,
crazy.
no, 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 no.
You like calm down.
Yeah, yeah.
It's good. We
It's
ain't
good, but
there.
it's not like
Okay.
the best DLC they've ever made,
Okay.
but
I
it's
guess.
very good. I don't really have anything to take away from it.
Oh,
Maybe the balancing, they tweaked the balancing, and I noticed my weapons are like way fucking weaker now. That
gotcha.
didn't feel that great. Bro, they got like a mutant turkey now. So, like, you can kill some really awesome creatures in this game too. But Skyline Valley is awesome. So
Oh,
check it out if you have yet to.
I am impressed. I gotta check this out now.
Well, I don't know if you need another live. You and your echoes. I don't know if
I
you need
know
another one of
Echoes
these.
got me, but they said I could binge and do what I want when I want.
That's
And if
true.
I knock it out, then I
Well,
can
that's
have
true. So you
time.
can. How long are those echoes?
They short from my understanding, but I don't know how long the amount of episodes they're gonna have in the act. So that I got to see how long that binge take. But I'm pretty quick with that when I get it hardcore with it. So we'll see.
All right. Well, you'll keep us posted on that.
Yeah.
Last question of the show, then we're out of here. JP writes in, "Hey Dukes, as a video podcast enjoyer, I've become more interested in the lovely backgrounds of both your rooms where you record. If you had the time, money, or interest, what would you do to improve your recording area? Does Cog want some Phil Spencer shelves to drop some subtle hints of what's to come? Will Maddie finally hang his TMNT artwork? How the hell did this motherfucker notice that? Love the
Woo.
show and have a Far Harbor Dima's Memory #5 kind of."
Feel like a deep cut.
This is a deep cut. I actually don't remember what #5 is. I just know Dima's Memory a little bit, and I don't know if this is a good one or a bad one. I can't remember off the top of my head, man. But now you got me wanting to do the replay, JP. All right, God.
JP.
You got unlimited time, money, and creativity. What are you doing to change the recording setup?
Yeah, like I'm jealous because like obviously I'm still in an apartment right now, and my house plans were on hold. Unfortunately, thankfully, I didn't make any stupid decisions with everything that's been going on with me lately. But no, look, in a perfect world, I'm always jealous of like what I consider the quintessential streamer room, and it's dark and they got the lights and the thing, and the bigger desks and stuff like that. So for me, I would first thing I would do is, I would call Mama Cog because she's still on me to this day. When are you coming to get those old arcade units that you still have in your own room? Energy, right? So I would get my arcade Shinobi out. I'd have it moved. I have a couple of upright arcade games, like how say like Ninja Turtles and stuff, those that mean value to you, like Turtles in Time and stuff. I have those. So in the home, in the house, in the new cognito abode, I would have some arcade energy. As far as what his question is, as far as like what investment is set up, it's got to be like your favorite franchises. You've got, you got Turtles, you got, what I'm saying? You got Persona, you got all the things that mean the most to you. So every franchise, I would have some representation. I was trying to keep
Yeah.
Know how I feel about Starfield. So I always got to give some. You got my Demio for my VR, my turn based. So just the things that mean the most to me. But I think I am jealous of the low lit, illuminating
Mm.
kind of energy. I like that. It's geeky.
Yeah.
It reminds me of PC guys when they got their setups and you see all the
The lights all throughout your room.
yeah. Like I do like the goofy stuff because you want listen. This is we spend 90% of our time in the house in this one room,
Yeah.
recording, creation, right? So it's just like you want to make it feel fun. You want to make it think, for me right now, I got my Tekken mouse pad. I can't take it up now because this thing is huge, right? But I love those kind of things that are near and dear to all my favorite franchises and pop culture and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So that's what I would do. And definitely a bigger space. But yeah, those are probably my short term goals. But the key is y'all got to get them arcade. I got to show people how it started. Who has one? Gene, I'm jealous. If you see his back, he's got the Street Fighter 2
Yeah.
Torta. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
jelly.
I only had room for one, so I had to get the Ninja Turtles one. Yeah, that was
Yeah, I'm jelly.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had to squeeze that in. For me, I think starters would be getting more posters on the back wall. I have enough to cover the retro rebound set, and that's what the first goal was. But now it's like you just have a pocket of my wall that's just concentrated posters, kind of overlapped in this 90s bedroom style. And I wanted that far wall to just be kind of full of that. But I want to, be picky. I'm very picky with posters. And so I want to make sure because the other thing is like now I've committed to using like some expensive video game posters there because I love the feel it provides. But when I look at it, it's like, well, now I can't just put like any artwork there. Like it's got to kind of match the vibe. Like it's got to be that 90s artwork or that 2000s artwork at least and kind of fit what's going on there. So that would be one of them. That's really not time. It's more like just resources. Like that's money that's tough to spend because some of those are expensive because they're usually in like complete in box games and then you devalue the game by taking it out. But that's one. I would get a bigger couch here. This is like a one seater, super low back. Like it sucks, bro. It sucks. Like it's a better chair than what I had beforehand, but I need like a big lazy boy, like a good two seater that reclines. Like I want that. I think I'd get a new entertainment center. Like what I have is very practical here. Like I have my TV from my old studio space and my entertainment center I've had since high school here. Like I kind of traveled with me, but I mean it's worked. It's never served me wrong. And so I like the kind of older look of it. So I would get that. I always wanted an electric desk, so I got that here. But I don't get to use it much because I think there's so much shit on my desk now. When I try to go up with it, these two legs go up, but that back leg's like just staying put. I'm like,
He's struggling.
So I need to get my PC on the ground, but I kind of can't do that because I need to have it up off the carpet. So I'm figuring that stuff out. I've considered like maybe doing hardwood floors in here, but I love carpets. That's like my weird thing. Like Laylee's like really big on hardwood floors. I'm like, cool, every room in the house but mine. But mine.
You fought for that one.
I didn't even have to really fight on it. She was like, yeah, it's your room. So like, that's cool. But like, yeah, when it came to like our den area, like that is a temporary situation where it's just carpet in there, especially because like Rufus is still a puppy. So like, he's sneaky, bro. This dog will just like not go to the bathroom outside so he can go take a dump inside. I'm like, dude, you can't do that. Like you can't. So yeah, like right now we're okay with the carpets. Cause like, I feel like once you commit to the hardwood floors, that's saying like we're contributing to the overall cleanliness of this house. And like, you can't just leave hardwood floors unclean. You just can't.
Yes.
Carpet, you can try your best, but like, they'll get dirty. So, anything else I would do? I like my shelves.
Mm-hmm.
I want a Death Note shelf. I don't have any Death Note stuff in here. So I want a Death Note shelf. I would want it to, I want what I would call a Matt's favorite thing shelf, which is Death Note and KOTOR. Like I want to put both those on the same shelf. Like I have the two master editions. I have some Death Note plushies, but like I don't have the black editions of the book. Like I just want to have a single shelf that's got them all laid out in this really fun, unique way. It's just my favorite things in one area. Otherwise though, yeah, for a while, like I had my bedroom, which was very confined and small. And so I was kind of limited what I could do. And my studio space, I didn't want to overcommit because I knew I'd only be there for a set amount of time. So a lot of this office is a lot of what I wanted. Like I'm very happy with it. Like I'm always very cozy in here. I think the only thing is I'm doing all my gaming in this chair or the couch in the den. Like I don't really game sitting in this seat on this TV. The only time I did that was Tekken because like, bro, I was dialing the fuck in, like that.
Your boy was locked
Yeah,
in.
100%, bro. I was whipping this mic around, going on Discord. I was away from the whole PC setup. I was like, I need every like little lacking of latency imaginable.
Yes.
So I was like, I gotta post up here because most times I'm playing through capture software on like my Elgato or something like that.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I overall have because I've been ideating this setup for years. So I kind of like, I mean, you may remember when I first moved in, I was against this wall here.
Yes.
Because I was like super paranoid about people thinking it looked weird that like, oh, Maddie's got like this setup where like it's the same, like you can see the Retro Rebound set in the background of my Mr. Maddie videos. And like people are gonna hate that. But then I just had this moment of like, this isn't practical for the space. Like I want to open this room up more. And who gives a fuck, Matt? Like no one complained once about this. No one will complain about it at all. It doesn't take anything away from it. If anything, it enhanced it. It's once I let go of that, I was like, oh, this is great. So yeah, I've tweaked this room already a little bit. And I want to paint the fucking walls.
There we go.
I kind of like the yellow look to it. I like it's very vintage, old school vibe, like very 80s. So I kind of like it, but I won't lie. I'm like, that's the thing. I gotta take those posters off the wall now if I want
down the door.
So I might do like I talked to ladies. I might do like alternating walls, like 2 one color, 2 a different color. I'm like, maybe I can make it look intentional. I don't know. I gotta think it through, but that's money I don't want to spend right now, so I'm doing none of that.
Yeah, that part. That part.
I pay a mortgage. I'm okay.
Yeah, we holding off.
Yeah, we're holding off for sure. For sure. Funding a game, a mortgage, all that stuff. Yeah, my money's tight, so I'm okay making ends meet in my yellow room with my shitty chair. That's fine. With that, Cog, it's time for us to wrap things up. We gotta pick our hashtag for this week. Think something with the tiers going up or changing, DD tiers or
pay up DD.
Oh, I like that. I like that. It's time to pay up.
It's time to pay up, boy.
I like that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you got this deep. Use the hashtag PayUpDD. You can tag us on Twitter. I'm at G7Status. Cog is at Lord Cognito. You can find us there. Again, hashtag PayUpDD. If you don't want to use that hashtag, you want to put it in the comments down below. It's fine. Let us know your thoughts on the episode. Again, hashtag PayUpDD. Cog, before we wrap up, any closing thoughts before we move on to episode 185?
Fun one, man. Fun one. A lot of interesting data today. Lot of interest. Gonna be fun. But it was a great episode. I really liked it. And yeah, looking forward to what's coming up next in the end of the year. And yeah, man, another one in the realm of the Dukes. Great writings from everybody.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal writings. We appreciate our DD community so much. Yes. So thank you for being a part of what we do here, bringing the show to another level. Cog's got another thing to say. Go ahead.
I want to shout out one particular Lord, and I won't say anything because it's a very personal thing, but someone sent me one of the nicest messages I have ever received, and was just like, you don't understand how much your podcasting, and whether it be Duke and ILP, means a lot. And it just blew me away. And I was just like, wow. So you never, I know we get a lot of crap in the comment section sometimes, some people, lately, but yeah, there's always going to be hate, right? But I want to thank the ones that actually say things like that. It really puts things in perspective.
It does.
And I was like, man, that's the nicest thing anybody has ever said to me. And was just like, man, thank you so much for everything you do. Like, you have like the person was telling me very personal, real life things they're going through, and listen to Duke, listen to ILP gets them through. Like, bro,
sure,
love. Brother Dukes, love y'all.
I got an interesting comment on Retro Rebound too. Like, I know that feeling where someone just posted like a comment. It wasn't even toward me. It was like just shout out to content creators making stuff that lets us get through our like days a little bit easier. I was like, that's awesome. Like, that's cool that it's like a more collective celebration. So yeah, man, like, it's just always a reminder to the audience that we appreciate you being involved in any way, but just know that extra mile doesn't even have to go toward us, but to your favorite creators out there.
Yes.
It goes a long way. We see a lot of negative shit about ourselves, and it's not thin skin to say like, yeah, when you see the same thing about you fucking week in, week out, there's a part of you that's going to get a little like, man, is it true at this point? So just know, taking that moment to reach out with kindness. You already do it with the hashtag. You take good care of us, so we appreciate it. But those good vibes go a long way for your favorite creators. So don't forget, from time to time, send a little love their way. And with that, we're signing out. Thank you so much for tuning into episode 184 Defining Duke at Xbox Podcast. And we will catch you next week for episode 185. Peace out.
Peace.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.